All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another session of the Kava podcast. You guys already know my name is Will, Top T, Top Doko. We have a great show for you guys. I am the host of the Kava podcast, #1 Polynesian podcast in the world. As you guys can see, we have a great guest tonight, Pacific Islander, men and women. You guys already know we got a hot topic to discuss tonight. Get your popcorn ready. And of course, as always, for all the Kava drinkers out there, cheers. Cheers. Right. Do I have the Chihu sign? Yahoo! Oh, let's get it, y'all. We have a great show for you guys. Let's do it.
What are we arguing about?
A man is gonna do what a man wants to do.
Yes, all on your wrist. Make you my wife, you no longer my bitch.
Oh, let's get it. My name is Will. I'm the host of this show, the #1 Polynesian podcast in the world.
Dripping in Versace. All these other hoes trying to copy.
Women tend to bounce around in relationships. They can't stick and stay in a long-term relationship.
Again, don't agree with this.
So let's say, are you still in it? Are you still in it?
No. So you're basically saying I'm a whore.
This content is not suitable for the children under the age of 18 without adult supervision. Please be advised.
So I just wanted to take the time and make this video to apologize to absolutely nobody. What's up, everybody? Oh. Welcome to another session of the Kava podcast. Welcome back. We have a great show planned for you guys. I see you guys already on the live chat. I see Underground Roads, Lighting, and MZ Carol. You guys are always the first ones on here. Thank you so much. We have a great show planned for you guys. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I know there's a lot of you guys support my channel. Thank you so much. I'm gonna be launching my locals account this Sunday by next Monday. So I'm gonna record all the pre-show and after the show. So if you guys want to see behind the scenes before we go live, and of course behind the scenes after we go live, I'll definitely post that exclusive content on my locals account, locals.com. So you guys can check it out. If you guys want to support me financially, that's the best way to support me financially. Every single donation, as you guys can see, I always put the work for you guys to give you guys the best quality content. I invest everything into this to give you guys the best content for you guys. So if you want to support my journey and support this podcast, that's the best way to do it. Subscribe to my locals account, and you get exclusive content only posted there. And of course, if we have the Kava podcast, you guys already know we have a discussion. And you guys get to see it, but also after the podcast, we also have a discussion, and I'm definitely going to record that, and that's only going to be exclusive, only on locals. So I'll launch my locals account definitely on by Monday, and I'll keep you guys updated on IG. Don't forget to follow me on IG, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all my social accounts. So that way, you guys can definitely make sure you guys can be part of it and see all the small clips. And of course, on Fridays, you guys already know I host different shows throughout the week. Wednesdays, Hot Topic Wednesdays, that's virtual. Thursdays, we have the Masculine Mind. We focus on masculinity, self-improvement, and purpose for men. That's virtual, but on Fridays, that's an in-studio live podcast. We focus on Pacific Islanders. So obviously, I'm in the Bay Area. I'm based out of San Francisco. So if you guys want to be part of the panel, I know a lot of you guys watch my stories or watch my content online, and a lot of you guys are from the Bay Area. We do actually have a guest today that reached out to me through email, and he's here today because he reached out to me through email and to be included on the panel. So if you guys want to be part of the discussion, if you guys believe in having an open conversation based on the different discussions and topics that we have, definitely come on and be part of it, and you guys can share your perspective. Reach out to me on willnacouzi at kavapodcast.com, or reach out to me and just DM me on my social media accounts, and you guys can be part of it, and then we can connect and be able to get you here on the podcast. I would definitely love to connect with everybody, hear different opinions, perspectives. Okay, but nevertheless, we have a great show for you guys. Shout out to all you guys. I see LaDrew Gooch. Hey, what's up, LaDrew? Hey, long time no see. I see T already. Oh, that's T. I was like, that's you. Well, thank you, T. I see you posted on Hey, yeah, on the on the live chat, Luis Rodriguez. Hi, Jordan. Hey, you know that person?
Yeah, that's my boys right there.
That's
man.
your boy right there?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's,
okay.
that's my sons right there watching this.
All right, no worries, no worries. Hey, how you doing, Luis? Good to see you on the live chat. But nevertheless, we have a topic that we're going to discuss tonight. Without further ado, let me pass it to the guests. Give yourselves a quick intro for everybody out there. I'll start with the ladies. Oh, lady. Monica, go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everybody out there.
Hi, my name's Monica Pahulu. I was here last week, and good to be here. Yeah.
All right, no worries. Monica, thank you so much. And I see you, Malia. What's up, y'all? Hey, good to see you, Malia. And I'm glad now we have the lights so we can see your face, Monica. Last time,
It is what it is.
you were dropping bombs last time, but nobody could see your face.
Oh man, I know.
But now we got the lights. So, and of course, everybody, I know when I posted the podcast last weekend, the first response to everybody, why the fuck is so dark? Thank you.
Pitch to Zoom, guys. Pitch to
That's
Zoom.
why criticism good. You know, criticism is good, so that way you can know what you do wrong, so you can fix it. But I definitely the lighting is a lot better. So everybody in the live chat, what do you guys think about the lighting? The lighting is it good from your end? Let me know in the live chat how the lighting is, as you guys see it from your screens. Let me pass it to the fellas. T, as always, go ahead and give yourself a quick intro.
As always, my name is T. I go by T. I try to understand majority of the stuff I do through laughter. So, and try to rub people the wrong way and piss you off in some way, shape, or form. But it's always a pleasure to be here, Will. Thank you. And let's get it.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, T, as always. Thank you for being part of the podcast. And Malia said lighting is mint. All right, thank you. All right, we fixed the lighting for you guys so we can give you guys the best quality content for you guys. All right. And I'll pass it to our new guest, first time here on the live show. Shout out to Jordan.
My name is Jordan. I'm Afrocasi, Samoan, and Italian. Big saucy Afrocasi, Uso big, Uso bang. That's your boy right here, the original. Shout out to my boys on the chat right now. Little Jordan, Juicy Jackson. Holla, what's up, boys? Love y'all. But yeah, man, just 30-year-old Polynesian. I ain't really nobody, but I'm just working out here, born and raised in the Bay. That's all it is, man. Appreciate being at the table.
All right, no worries, as always. All right, you're definitely gonna be a somebody after this after this session. All right, no worries, as always. Thank you so much. Let's get that live chat popping. Always participate. Always like to hear what you guys think. Appreciate you guys always being on the live chat. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. I see 13 people right now, right? So I should see 13 likes in the next 20, 30 seconds. So let's get those likes up, all right? It helps the algorithm so you can reach more people. So if you really want to support me, definitely make sure you like and subscribe so that way we can get the algorithm going and we can reach more people out there for tonight's topic. All right, but let's get right into it. So the topic that we're going to discuss tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to discuss toxic Polynesian mindset and behaviors that needs to change ASAP. All right, so I know we talked about it before in the first podcast. Obviously, we're all Pacific Islander on this table. Obviously, there's a lot of, I'm very big on progression, self-improvement, making sure that we can improve as Pacific Islanders. But obviously, one of the hardest conversations to have as Pacific Islanders is being critical of our Polynesian community, because obviously there's a lot of issues, and I brought up those issues before on the podcast before. We have mental health, obesity, poverty. There's a lot of issues with the family, falapalawas, fatongias in Tongan. So all these things that go on with our community, but oftentimes I do hear a lot of complaints from especially from the younger generation, the millennials, Generation X, Y, and Z, on certain things that's happened in our community, but oftentimes nobody gets to talk about it. So obviously, I believe in change. I believe that if things need to improve and get better, there has to be some kind of change. All right, we can't keep repeating the same action every single day and expect a different result. That's a definition of insanity. All right, boom. All right. But like I said, yeah, exactly. So a lot of times, what I notice, as I observe our community, we see these issues happen every single day in and day out, but nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to speak up about it. How are we going to formulate solutions to better our people if nobody can come to the table and have an open discussion, whether we agree or disagree? But that's the purpose of conversations. It's just to represent, express ideas, and then as a community, we can figure out which ideas work and we can apply them, and we can figure out a way to move forward. All right, but if we don't have the conversation, there's no change. If there's no change, then nothing improves and progresses. Okay, so obviously we're going to have the hard conversation. So we're going to focus on the mindset, the Polynesian mindset, and the behaviors that we see within our culture that we think that doesn't that's holding us back, doesn't help us improve, doesn't help us progress as not only as a people but especially as individuals. So let me open up the topic for you guys to the panel. Let you guys express your general thoughts, and then of course we're going to focus on different topics specialized for this topic, and we'll go one by one. I have it written down on my notebook, but let's just open up the conversation based on your experience. What do you think toxic Polynesian mindset and behaviors that's not conducive for us as a people and as individuals to help us progress, especially living here in America? All right. Obviously, everybody watching this right now, you guys all heard of the island mindset. But obviously, what I see in America, a lot of us are living with the island mindset and behavior, but we're struggling here in America. And one of my beliefs is if you want to succeed in America, you have to adopt to this lifestyle and the way they do things here in America in order to get to the next level. So, but nevertheless, let me pass it to you guys. Let me know what you guys think. I'll start with you, Monica. What's your open thoughts on the topic at hand? Toxic Polynesian mindset and behaviors that needs to change. Go ahead, Monica.
So I know that it is our lack of understanding of our positionality within the U.S. So I know again that Polynesians, we don't want to seem weak. So we've decided to join the Oppression Olympics. I don't know if you all know what that is, but essentially it's when minorities believe that they're not oppressed, and then they believe that they can pretty much just get ahead by believing that, right? When you believe something that is not true, then there's no actual way to fix the problem. If you can't fix the problem because you're in denial of the problem, then that's the situation right now. So we're pretty far back as to, I think last week we had a discussion about that. And based on our discussion, that's what I got. But I've been knowing that. And I think all of the viewers here know that as well. It is hard to be vulnerable. I don't like doing that. I have a hard time being vulnerable. And I can honestly say that it's a cultural thing. But I understand that I have to put myself in a place where I can better understand why I have issues with that, right? And it's about accepting the facts. And we should start from there, but if we don't start from there, then we actually don't think that there's a problem. And so the basic issue is Polynesians actually don't feel or know that we're oppressed because it's easier to feel better about it, because it's easier to say that, oh, I'm, the pillar of my destiny. I am the driver of my car, right? I'll just put it in that. But the truth is that's not the case. And there's stats to support that.
All right, no worries. I appreciate that, Monica. All right, no worries. Let me pass it to you, T. T, what's your opening thoughts on the topic at hand? Toxic Polynesian mindset and behaviors that needs to change.
I think the two that I can think of is pride and greed, right? And greed comes in, it applies to a lot of the stuff that happens in churches, a lot of family functions, whether it's money, the number one drug for Polynesians right now is food, right? So there's a lot of greed and there's a lot of eyes towards each other of, well, who's going to do it? Why do I have to do it? Right? So that's where that pride comes in. It's like, I ain't got to do shit. You go do it. Right? So the greed and pride mixed together is a absolute, like, very potent combination to just have our own community collapsing on itself, because it's like when it comes to money and especially five laves or fatongias, that greed of, oh, you know, let's do something so we can take the most home. Right? Let's save all these foods so we can have the most to take. And then the pride within your family, that pride of, oh no, I'm a strong person, so I don't have to out somebody who's molesting me in the house. Right? I'm a strong person. I don't need to be vulnerable to be like, oh, so-and-so did something to me. And then you live with that trauma for the rest of your life. Right? So, but for me, for right now, based on the question, greed and pride is one of the main things I see nowadays.
Okay. All right. Greed and pride. Okay. All right. No worries. Thank you, T. Let me pass it to you, Jordan. Jordan, what do you think? What's your opening thoughts on the topic at hand? Go
All
ahead.
right. So part of what I think is throughout the years, and then me being Americanized and seeing some of the Polynesians that are more out here in the Bay Area, in California, it's the complacency. Complacency and the lack of hunger. You know, you get comfortable. You chilling at mom's house, or you playing video games in the garage until 2 a.m. and stuff. Like, I'm only 30, so I could clearly remember when I was in high school, you know, parents was on my ass about making sure I'm at football practice, making sure my grades is up. And I was the bad kid too. So I got bounced around from like my grandma's house to my auntie's house to my cousin's house. And it was pretty consistent everywhere I went, where I always had those hard talks where it was, but like, you're the problem. You're at fault. You need to fix whatever the fuck's going on. Like, the reason why you're going from house to house is it's not because the house is bad, nigga. It's because it's you know? And now this day, like with some of this age and how we're bringing some of these younger generations out, is like, I understand that I got my ass with being younger. I mean, I'm sure all of us got the switch when we was younger. All of us got it. But it also, that was the tool that sort of kept us in line and disciplined. And then these parents who were at our age, who got our asses whooped when we were younger, all of a sudden decided to make the change and decide to not fucking sauce out their kids no more. And it's all like, you can see the longing effect on how the development is sort of regressing us, and it's sort of making us softer. And then I just take my experience, because when I was younger, like our family was very much into the warrior culture, but we were humbled in the church. And then nowadays, they're sort of raising the next generation being humbled, but don't know how to turn that warrior switch on no more. You know, like I'm part of a youth football program. Shout out West Coast Islanders. Youth football over in the East Bay, Hayward, California. You know, but I'm part of a youth football program, and you can sort of see the difference on some of the kids, how I grew up and was raised, and how when it was just like showing up on time type shit. And it's just different now. Like 6 o'clock practice means 6 o'clock on the dot, where you're strapped up, ready for cleats and everything. And I see kids in Crocs on the sideline coming out of the parking lot, you know, chopping it up.
Is that mainly the Polynesian kids are always late?
But yeah,
okay.
Straight up. But hey, I'm not calling nobody out, but yeah, man, it's just one of those things where we gotta have more of a sense of urgency. Stop being so complacent. Go back to being hungry, and you know, go get it, man. Like it takes all of us, but it definitely takes an individual to make sure that their footprint in their family changes, and by taking that step forward, you know, stop. Like, you gotta stay on your toes and stop waiting on your heels.
All right. Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, complacency and lack of hunger. Yeah, that's definitely prevalent in our community, especially the younger generation. All right. So, yeah, as always, everybody on the who's on the live right now, thank you so much for watching. I see you sideways. Hey, what's up, sideways? Good to see you in the live chat. Evo206. Thank you so much. And your boys, Rodriguez, so amazing. Hey, thank you, man. Your Jordan's a great dude. And Irene, I see you from Facebook. That part, complacency, yes. Malia, always telling you to pray about it and leave it to Jesus instead of actually making changes to get results. All right, thank you, Malia. All All right. Looks like
Hey,
somebody disagrees with you.
Nah,
Praise
man.
the Lord on that, Molly.
Hey, got to tap in on something like that?
All right. Sama Nunu. Hey, appreciate you, man. He said, love your answer, Jordan. It's crazy though, because probably being complacent is a symptom of a bigger root cause. All right, no worries. Sama Nunu, and then Beth, thank you so much. Let's get that live chat popping. Let me know what do you guys think. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get those likes up. I see 2 likes only, and there's 14 of you guys on here in the live stream. So I should see 12 more likes. All right, let's get that live chat popping. All right, and don't forget, if you want to support the channel, drop a super chat to support the channel. Every donation goes back to the pod to give you guys the best quality content. Okay, but let's get back to the guests. Let's get back to the topic. I want to start off with your topics. Of course, I got the things I want to discuss also. But let's start with what you talked about, Monica. So you're talking about the oppression, right?
Mhm.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit more, and then we're gonna go deeper. So in your mind, what you said that a lot of politics think they're oppressed, or
Well, I think that the topic is very hard to talk about.
Yeah.
Like there's a stigmas around talking about oppression, because when you say oppression, right, like the gentleman mentioned last week, that means that somebody is stopping me.
Yeah.
Somebody or something is stopping me. And so to feel like somebody or something is stopping me, right? Essentially, you feel that's a sign of weakness, right? So essentially, you don't want to actually put yourself in that narrative, because that narrative is hard to be put in, right? But the truth is, that's the truth. That we are, and this could just be based on what my opinion, based on what I've seen in research when it comes to chronic conditions, us dying at very younger ages. And I'm not too sure if anybody understands this or knows this or has seen this, but a lot of people are dying from heart attacks at younger ages.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is like under the age of 36. Right. So you're seeing that age range get lower and lower and lower. I said 65, and that's just through stats. But essentially, I know a lot of people now that have been just dropping like flies from heart attacks under the age of 40.
Yeah.
And so what that implies is kind of what we talked about last week, which is, we want to come off as a strong, community by giving out, what we need to give out to family members and so forth. But at the same time, we also live in the US where everything is expensive based on the materials economy, right? So when you live in a place where it's so expensive and you're trying to look strong, essentially what happens is you end up being a statistic. You end up being a minoritized group. And that makes us feel uncomfortable. I get it. I don't like to look like I am vulnerable or weak or a part of a system that runs me. I don't. But based on the research that you can see clearly on CDC or minoritieshealth.com.org, and that's just in the US. I'm not talking about globally. It says different.
Let's dive into that topic. And I know we didn't get a chance to cover that. I wanted to cover that on our last podcast, but we didn't get a chance to. But thank you for bringing that up. I know me and Monica have had that discussion about the obesity problem in our community, right? And our people dying very young. You don't know how many times I've seen family members, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, but dying at 30. I saw a Facebook post, I think it was last year, 30-year-old male, Tongan, 5 kids, dies because of a heart attack and left behind a wife and 5 kids. That was primarily a housewife that depended on him to be the provider and protector, but now he's gone. Okay. So this is something we need to discuss, obviously, and we can bring it up. I'll bring it up for you guys and see what you guys think. But I think one of the biggest problems I've seen when it comes to obesity is that we have this belief that Pacific Islanders are naturally obese, right? There's this common misperception that, especially not only with us, so how we perceive ourselves, how we see ourselves, but also for people who are non-Pacific Islander, right? When they see somebody that's Pacific Islander, they expect you to be huge, right? All right, so which is kind of funny because sometimes when I go to my family, they consider me skinny. It's like, dude, are you on a diet or are you eating? They think,
Are you sick?
are you sick?
Yeah.
Right? They think that it's crazy this unhealthy mentality and relationship that we have when it comes to our self-image, right? So I mean, I take care of my health. I work out every single day because health is really important to me. I want to make sure I have longevity, but for some reason, our people that if somebody's actually working out every single day or even dieting, taking care of their body to live a healthy lifestyle, a lot of Polynesians may see that as like, oh, why you why do you want to do why do you want to do some kind of Americanized diet? Why do you just be like us and eat like everybody else, right? So I think we need to have that discussion. I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on that? I think as people, I don't think we're naturally obese. That's not our normal weight. And the way I know that for a fact, that all of you guys, if you guys go back and go to your grandpa's and great grandpa's photos and you look how they looked in the islands. I have old pictures of my grandpa, great grandpa. Look, normal normal bodies, right?
Yeah.
I see no pictures of our people back in the day that were obese. None. My great grandma, my great grandpa pictures and his family. I have portraits of it, black and white. None of them were obese. So this narrative here in America that we think about ourselves, and of course what non-islanders think about us, that we just traditionally naturally big, and if we're not naturally big, something is wrong with us, or maybe we're not eating, or we're sick or something like that. So I think something that I think for me is something that we need to really focus on and changing, because it's very extremely sad for me to see somebody die young, and then they're leaving behind a whole family behind, right? That's so sad to see. So I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on that regarding the obesity, the health problem that we have in our community? And also with you, T, what do you think?
Stop going to the buffets. New York buffet, hometown buffet, which we don't have no more. All right, but I think that's also the conditioning of how much distraction we get from the media too, right?
Yeah.
Because it kind of provides some sort of like affirmation or confirmation for them to validate the reason why you built yourself to be 400 pounds. It's something that you control. And I think last night's podcast, one of the guys talked about what you're able to control.
Yeah.
Right. And even at some point, I think for obesity, if you're the person that's on that journey to just take care of yourself, take care of yourself. You ain't got to worry about nobody else. Because one of the things I see is there's a couple of guys I look up to, and they try to go through life like everything is minor to them because they've experienced life in some way, shape, or form, very, very extreme conditions, right? So they're able to maneuver life, handle some of the situations they don't, but at the same time, they die at like 45.
Yeah.
Why you dead at 45, right? So for me, it's a lot of people, that's minor. You don't need to worry about it. Just enjoy life. I want to enjoy it through longevity, like you said.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be around for my kids, but also that's something that you control. Stop having so much greed when it comes to food. Food ain't going nowhere, right? Yeah. And even if you don't have the money, I'm pretty sure you have family members, and there's also programs that will help you to at least find some sort of nutrition or protein for you, so you can consume something, so you'll be able to survive. I understand there's a whole caveat to this, the flip side of, we don't have as much. If this is the thing with polys that I don't get, we always have this poor mentality mindset saying it's like, oh my God, we don't have much. We barely make rent. We can barely pay bills. But you're about 300 pounds. Why is that?
Yeah.
How?
Because we never miss a meal.
Right?
Straight up.
You're like a meal away from a clogged artery, and you come here, you say you don't have enough to pay your rent.
Only in America where poor people are fat.
Yeah, right.
Straight up.
No, not straight up.
Yeah.
Right?
Only in America.
Right. And then for women, this is what I see is a lot of the stuff in the media, right? You go to any store, Target, for example, right? And it's normalized to where your image, if we went from like maybe the size of this microphone stand to now like the size of underneath the freeway pillar.
Size of this Scalpel Bowl, right?
Just big,
I cannot.
Oh, shout out to
But I
Lizzo.
get it.
So as much as we want to,
I mean,
as much as we want to come and talk, like we can talk so much, but you also are still in control of what you do, what you consume.
Okay.
Every single day, and it adds up. The little, like for us back I'm sure you can understand this. Back at home, we had a time to eat.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have your little meal. You take to school, like a couple of papayas or fruits or coconuts.
Yeah.
And then you come. If you don't eat, you eat the next day.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
Us, I think the reason why for Polynesian people, because we are like the image of this, of being so fat. And the reason why this happens in America is because we have the convenience to just stuff our faces. Midnight snack, morning this, brunch this. We just throw it down the pipe. But I think that's what it is. You control your own situation. Stop being so greedy. It ain't going nowhere. McDonald's is going to be at the same spot when you go the next day.
Okay.
Right. And if you a meal away from a stopping heart, you can skip a meal or two. Just control yourselves.
All right. All right. No worries. Thank you, T. Let me pass it to you, Jordan. Jordan, what do you think about the obesity epidemic within our community, and also, our young people dying very young because of chronic diseases that come from obesity? Go ahead.
No, yeah, I feel it. Well, I remember growing up, like going to some of the poly events and everything, and like indulging in the poly food. I want to say like it's hella good, but there was a lot of creamy sweet, pork. But like I remember, like I specifically remember there's a lot of creamy sweet flavors in there that sort of translate to like a bad sweet tooth in America, and with just like you said, with the convenience, if you already stuck on the creamy sweets, you got that bad sweet tooth, you have the ability to eat whenever you want. You really don't have that control switch, and especially if you that your mom or you've seen people from your elders that had that time spot to eat and go to sleep hungry, and then you always say you're never going to do that to the next generation. Yeah. You unconsciously sort of adapted that that habit now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And whoever like brought mayonnaise to the Polynesian community, like fuck you, bro. Like that shit is hella good. You know what I mean? But like for real, dude. Like why?
Oh man,
why is that shit
hurt, bro?
Why that shit popping? Like, but it's in every poly house, and you always see the gallon jug. Nice. Never see the 30 ounce.
It's not the mayonnaise.
It's not the mayonnaise fault,
bro.
No, I know it's not just the mayonnaise, but I'm just saying, no, like it goes in with the food and stuff. It's something that ended up being adapted to be put on everything too. And it's like, just the porks, the sweet tooths, not eating right. And then when we were like solid, good physiques from our ancestry.
Yeah,
from
we were warriors.
We were warriors. Exactly.
Navigators on ships.
Just naturally, like they was cut up. They was stacked.
Yeah.
Like we'll keep it real. They were stacked. So transitioning from like naturally being stacked to no longer having to work that hard and then have the convenience of food. That energy is not getting burnt no more. And then you no longer taking the information that's progressing forward, because that our next generations are bigger, and our next generations are getting fatter, and I know our next generations are getting unhealthier, but you're still going to continue the same habits, just like that insanity quote you just popped up, so you're not making the change, and you're just getting comfortable and just stuff in your face. There's no off switch, no control.
Monica?
I think that there's a lot of good observations here, and I think that's the key, right? Especially if public health and health education is not ready, available, not interesting to Pacific Islanders, and that's completely understandable, completely, because I believe that, and I know that when you're part of a minoritized group, and most of the time I'm first generation, I think most folks sitting on this table, I think besides you will, and you maybe will, we're here, we're brand new. And so, a lot of our families, come here for a better life and to, progress and to make money and so forth. But the truth of the fact is we die before we do that. Most of us work low income jobs, and we leave with kids that are unsupervised by their parents. And as we discussed earlier, males die a lot quicker. And so when you also are children, according to a lot of research, other, young males, when they grow without a father, that is very, very hard, so we also have to understand the mass incarceration problem that we have, right? So this all ties into just a lot of things. It's not just one thing. It's not just, oh, we're fat. It's not, because like there's factors. So this is a factor that ties into us becoming a larger percentage of the mass incarceration rates, right? When we are only, as we discussed last week, 0.4%. This, influences our ability to mobilize ourselves in the U.S. and flourish like you want our community to do. And I think all of us would love that as well, right? But the truth is it's not happening, not as well as, I think that there are great ball players. I think that there are great entertainers, right? But how small of a percentage is that? And when we talk about job industries, education, all that other stuff, right? These are steps, right? But the first step is to be well and to live. And at this point, we're not even doing that. Where that's just it, right? So I think that it is personal choice a lot of the times, but also it's the lack of resources, the lack of understanding that, hey, there are steps to become better in the US. There are steps to live a longer life. There are steps to not be hospitalized and not die, right? There are steps, but we are missing the understanding of those steps, right? And we're not completely understanding where we stand in the US, right? Because we're a people of faith. And that is great. I never said that it wasn't. But it's also navigated us from, being observant, right, of where we stand, of what it is, what we're doing. With that being said, that's kind of what I think about it. Is there a solution? At this point, the solution would be to understand what's going on. I think
let's talk about the solutions. Let's talk about it.
I think the problem is essentially what's happening right now is we are not completely understanding where we stand because we're in denial, and it's easier to feel like that, right? And so the solution would be to, I think everybody has a phone, right? Everybody has access to the internet.
But before we go into the solutions, if you don't mind, just can I ask everybody here, what are the biggest excuses that you hear from the Polynesians of why they're obese and fat? And let's break that down. Let's break down every single excuse they have with a solution and some logic, because I'm sure you guys all heard a lot of Pacific Islanders and Polynesians in Europe that you see they're obese and fat. They always have a reason why they think they're obese and fat, but they don't look within themselves or take accountability. That's their choices they're making. But one comes to mind, and I'll bring my first one, and you guys can all bring up the things that you see. But one of the biggest excuses I hear from our people, which is a myth, we need to debunk this myth, that the reason why we're obese and fat is because of genetics. All right, I'm big boned. All right. That's why I brought up that we're not naturally obese and fat. That is a generation of bad, healthy life choices that's passed on from generation to generation that has got to this point. But like I said, if you go back and look at your ancestors, right, go back and look at your great grandmothers and look at old pictures that they have. No one in the 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago in our community, nobody was obese and fat. So obviously it wasn't the food. All right. And I also want to debunk the myth that it's because of the island food that we eat.
Right.
No, because our ancestors, all they eat was island food. All they ate was taro. All they ate was manioc and ufi and fish. And I don't know if they had corned beef.
No, I don't mean it like that.
I don't know. No. But I'm just saying it's not the food that we eat, because our ancestors ate that food and they were still they still had a very healthy body and you add the fact that they were active, they weren't sitting around all day on their phones and
They were able to punch you in your face when you say that's why we're fat.
doing anything. So a lot of people they had to grow their food agriculturally, so they had to work for it. So the input they were taking was a balance of the output they were as far as what they were exerting as far as the calories. So I want to break that myth that it's not genetics, because I hear that from a lot of Pacific Islanders. Oh, I'm big because because I'm Polynesian, right? Our people are just naturally big. Our people are naturally obese. Of course, there's a few of us that inherited the warrior gene, and those guys go to the NFL, all right? But most of us don't have the warrior gene. We're normal, but it's because of our bad healthy choices that we end up looking like we play for NFL, even though we're not in the NFL, okay? Both men and women. Some women can look like they're ready to
Straight linebackers.
3 technique and zero technique.
Shout out to cousins.
Nah, just blind side. You know? All right, but so it's not genetics. I promise you that it's not the genetics of why we're obese. It's the bad healthy choices, and of course, I think Monica, you brought it up. It's the processed food. That's it. We were so reliant on processed food, and that's why I believe in our community we need more education in nutrition. If we understand nutrition, if we understand how that affects our body, and of course, learning how to work out and setting a consistent workout schedule. You don't have to work out 2 or 3 hours a day. You can do it. You can work out 15 minutes every single day, 30 minutes. Everybody, because that's the biggest excuse I hear from Polynesians, is for some reason they're more busier than CEOs that they don't have time, 15 minutes to spend on their body to be healthy. Just go for a walk for 15 minutes, whether it's a walk, whether it's a jog. You don't have to, you can start small, but if you just, it's all about consistency and just building healthy habits. And of course, moderation as far as you eat, right? Don't eat processed foods every single day. And like I said, one of the biggest excuses I hear also is just, oh, I don't have the money because if I buy healthy food, it's going to cost a lot more, right? And maybe Monica can speak a little bit more of that, but like, you can go out there and there's a lot of things that we buy that we don't need as far as material things. If you spend that money, invest it into your health and in supplements, you can find a way to make sure that it works for your financial bracket, that you can still be able to live a healthy life. But I just wanted to bring those 3 things. Was the myth that the reason why we're obese and fat is because it's genetics, and we don't have the money. And what was the other one? There was the third one I brought up. I can't remember. Time. We don't have time, right? We work 1 job, 2 jobs. Like there's always time. 15 minutes. You don't have to work out 4 hours. If you can do more, then that's better. But just start small and be consistent every single day. But you can't just do nothing, accumulate, and get just. The thing is, for me, it's better to start now, because once you hit a certain weight, I think it's really, really hard to go back. Like once you hit 300 pounds and 400 pounds, 500 pounds, it's really, really hard to go back. So at one point in my life, I hit 300. And that was like in 2016.
Really?
And, yeah.
Dang, 3 notes.
I was like 290, 280, something like that. But I was about to hit 300, and I told myself, if I hit 300, I can't go back. So I better start working out now, so that way it's still easier. But it's better to work out at 280 than hitting 300, getting over 300. Then I'm just way out of shape. And sometimes if you're over 300, 400 pounds, or some of our people are, the task is so they realize it's a lot of work it overwhelms them. Like, damn, I gotta really work out to lose this weight, and then they give up, and then they just let it go. So I'll pass it to you guys. What are the biggest excuses that you guys see as far as people that they use to justify why they're obese and overweight? I'll start with you, Jordan. Go ahead.
Gout and mayonnaise. No, I'm just kidding. The excuses I hear, it'd probably be like the knee pains, the ankle pains. I understand what you're saying when they get the 3 and 4 notes, that it turns into a handicap for them to try it.
Yeah.
Because now they can't even breathe getting out the car.
Yeah.
They can't even breathe like standing up off the couch. What makes me want to go to the gym and not breathe over there, So it's definitely one of those things where it's the complacency problem. You get comfortable, you just start stuffing your face, you don't control yourself, you're not working out, you're building bad rituals, bad habits, and you're not really keeping yourself accountable. It's just doing what's easy now. And that's not, I feel like that's not what our people really stood on. And now more recent eras, like people are going to hate on the ones that are actually putting the work in, because now it looks different to what we used to do, or what the stigma of our people is, you know. So there's like, it's almost like a proud to be big type shit, where you're not going to make the change because like you're proud of that stereotype or something like that. And this is different when you getting big in the obese era and you ain't getting big in like the warrior area.
Yeah.
So like, what kind of big do you want to be?
Yeah.
Because that's not it. You feel me?
Mhm.
And yeah, man, just and another thing I was thinking about too, Bud, is is that a lot of us grow up playing sports. A lot of us grow up like really beating our body down. The second that we don't play sports, man, it's easy to kick your feet up. It's easy not to have to go to practice. It's easy not to put that work in. It's easy not to go wrap up niggas on the rugby field, or go do conditioning and ladder drills for football, and you know, go running baselines for basketball and all that. It's a lot easier. I've been busting my ass my entire youth life and everything, playing these sports and everything. So once the cleats get hung up, the feet get kicked up, and I felt like I worked my entire life as a child. I'm not going to work out as an adult no more.
You ever have a reunion with your old football teammates like 10 years later?
But I've seen them. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Shout out Boy though. Like boy used to be stacked.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
All right, no worries. Thank you, Jordan. Pass it to you, T. What do you think? What are the biggest excuses that you see with our people to justify why they're obese and overweight? We already covered it.
They got all the excuses. I don't know if I have anything else more to. But the number one thing is just, I'm hungry all the time. You don't have 15 minutes to go do a workout, but you have 15 minutes to walk to a Mecca's, wait there for your food, and then stuff it all down in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. It's just the laziness and the comfortability you have, and we can throw terms around of being obese, and at the end of the day, America can look at their version of obese, right? They have their stats and their numbers that they want to look at. Us, if America wants to call us naturally obese, that's fine. Right? Yeah. But it's just two different things. For Polynesian people, we're just naturally big, right?
Yeah.
Naturally built to and the whole myth about food that causes us to be obese, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. And usually those come from the fattest people I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right. It's always because the food that.
No, it's just you eat more than you burn. That's it.
Yeah, but we can't. The thing is, we can't take American numbers, even though we live in America, but we still can't bring those numbers to kind of scale and gauge how our weight is and how our lifestyle is. Even if we have Polynesian food, even if we have processed food, again, at the end of the day, it's something that you control. And if you're lazy, but one of the main reasons, and I'm sure you guys hear it all the time, I'm hungry. You're always hungry. So that becomes a control issue where you always feel like you need to have so much convenience of having to stuff your face all the time.
I can't recollect I can't remember the study or the research. But I remember reading something, if you guys know this, but I think when you eat a lot of sugar or something like that, maybe someone in the live chat can post it, but your body gets dependent on that. So if you go a couple of hours without food, your body it's like a drug. So you constantly needs to eat something.
Yeah.
Right. That's why like that. There's our people, like we were for thousands of years, we only ate like once a day. We weren't built to, as a people, to eat like 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 times a day. It was like once a day, and then maybe in the more modern society, maybe 2, 3 times a day, because now we have lunch and dinner. But for most people, throughout most of history, they went and hunted, and then when they found some food, that was only the time they ate. Until the next day, they had to go find some food. So,
and even when that was introduced back in the islands too, right? Because in the schools they started having lunch times for schools, and usually the fat kid is the one that knows like a lunch lady that takes the extra stuff home. But even at lunch, you can see that everybody at the school in high school times, because by that time they look like they full-grown men, just regular bodies, built like regular people, right? There's not that much obesity, but I think it's just the amount of the stuff that you should be able to control. But as far as excuses go, That's usually the number one thing I hear is I'm always hungry. So
Yeah.
it's a control type deal with them. They're not able to control, but and plus it's convenient for us too, right? McDonald's to some people it's like 5 minutes away just to walk. Starbucks,
Right.
but it's because they're always hungry for some reason.
No, I feel that, and if I want to add it to that point real quick too, like it's crazy how a lot of boredom solutions end in food. Like, how the hell are you so bored that you're hungry now? You know what I mean? Like, so like if you ain't filling up your time or filling up your gap or keeping yourself occupied, like you really stuffing your face for no reason. If you sleeping in, you sort of turn that lifestyle into a priority, and unconsciously, like those are your habits now. Like that's just how you're wired.
Right.
So
I think the only like to put a valid point because I can't really find like a legitimate reasons why other than hearing that sentence of all because I'm hungry, right? So the first thing that comes to me is you're not able to regulate, your appetite. You're not able to control your habits. But if we're gonna talk about stop talking about back in the day. To everybody that says, "Oh, back in the day, the food," if you can't even go to your own kitchen and in the back of your house or the patio of your apartment and grow something, you shouldn't even be talking about food back in the day. You shouldn't even be talking about plantation and kalo ufi, mangyoka, and all that stuff if you can't even grow simple cilantro on the top of your sink, right? So it's a habit thing. You have to get into the habit of being able to plant your own stuff, your own goods, whether it's mint, cilantro, the easy stuff. And if you're fortunate to have a house that has a backyard, try some carrots or some potatoes. But we prefer
growing weed.
the corned beef in a can rather than some carrots and potatoes. So
All right, so let me read some comments real quick, and then we'll come back and wrap up that topic before we move on to T's topic. All right, so Samu said you can't speak up. You can't really speak for everyone's genetics, though sometimes it is genetics, LOL, but I get what you're meaning. There are people out there that use that as an excuse. However, there are exceptions. Samu, exceptions do not make the rule, okay? So we go off majority. And of course, like I told you before, Samu, Samanunu, go look at your great-great-great-grandparents and grandmother's pictures. I promise you, the own genetic line for your family, you will not see anybody that was obese in your family 50 to 60, 70, 80, 100 years ago. I promise you that. All right, so I see Mao No Money. Hey, good to see you, Mao No Money, on here on the live chat. He said, I would suggest speaking more on the healthy numbers and scale. I'm 360 and I can never be healthy based on average stats, but my numbers based on blood work is in healthy range. I would disagree. I don't think.
What's the BMI?
I don't think 360 is healthy.
my only question was like, how tall are you?
Yeah, I was about to ask, like,
Right.
oh,
Like you got to be like 6 foot, like
6'6".
taller than Will.
Like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
If you're 6'4", 6 foot, but here's the thing. Even NFL players, right? They play at 360. As soon as they retire, what happens?
Yeah, Lil Russell Okon.
They drop down.
Yeah.
They don't maintain that weight because it's unhealthy to be that big. Your heart can't handle that being that weight. That's why you see a lot of bodybuilders or people who are very wrestlers who are that size. They die really, really young. But usually what happens is when you see professional players, linemen, as soon as they
There we
okay,
go.
that makes sense. But
okay.
all right, but
How old are you?
no, I would ask him what is his body fat percentage.
Yeah, the BMI.
Yeah, right. That would tell me if you're obese. I think if you're over 30%, then yeah, you're probably obese. But something closer to 20%, that's really healthy.
How heavy are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh no, I'm 235,
235?
Yeah.
How tall are you?
6'3".
6'3".
Right on.
Yeah.
And you dropped that from 3 notes? You was 300?
Yeah, but that was that was 2016.
So it's definitely a process, but to keep it off though, that's also an accomplishment because a lot
yeah.
of people that drop that weight so quick and like
Yeah.
get toned up, I mean, once again, they become comfortable. They feel like they made it, and then boom, stop working out, balloon right back up to that same spot.
Yeah.
You know, and keep it real. It's like the blood work numbers are more accurate than the BMI. I understand that, but you still got something to lose, bud. You can take care of yourself, bro. You know, you got the ability to take care of yourself. Shed
You
something.
can be a lot better.
Exactly.
and
You
more
be in a lot
healthier.
better condition. Yeah.
At
I mean,
360.
I was almost 3 notes myself too. Like I'm like 225 now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like the difference between where I felt at 3 notes and today at 225, man, completely different.
Yeah.
Like I don't even feel like that same person. I'd honestly feel like I spit in that dude's face, man. Like, what the hell did you do to let yourself get to this point?
Yeah.
You know?
All right, no worries. I want to bring up 2 things regarding obesity, and then we can move on. Since we're talking about obesity, since we're living here in America, I want to talk about the body positivity movement, how that encourages people to stay obese and stay overweight. And I do see that trickle into our community, and they have that body positivity mindset, right? That it's not about how you are, it's how you feel. So if you, even though you're obese or overweight, but you can call yourself beautiful, and you can, I'm beautiful being overweight, obese, and it's encouraged and it's empowered. But I think it's a very unhealthy mindset that they're pushing people to think that being overweight and obese. And I see this especially with our Pacific Islander women. I don't really see a lot of the men, but it's more of the obese, overweight Pacific Islander women, that they have that body positivity mentality. When clearly you can see that they're unhealthy. Clearly, physically, you can just see they're unhealthy. But they're not going to change because society has changed the standard that it's okay. It's okay to be obese and overweight, and then they're forcing everybody to make that seem like that's very attractive, right? So, what do you guys think about the body positivity movement here in America when regarding to obesity? Did you guys see that as a problem, or do you guys see that that's prevalent now? You see it on social media?
I mean, it's a bigger problem now than it was back in the day. But even back in the day, like I feel like that image and that body positivity was already sort of accepted within our culture.
Yeah.
You know, and we didn't really take the steps to correct it to the point where it is culture. You know what I'm saying?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay, so Will, you're always saying about, okay, I'll be honest, like, I know you are biracial, right? But I know, to me, you're Tongan. You look Tongan. You look very similar to like some of my brothers in my family. But the real reason why people don't think you're Tongan is because you're fit. Same thing, with most people that are fit. The stereotype, and there's 2 ways, right? There's 2 ways to think about this, right? There's one way where I can say that we have in the U.S. we have a system, our food system and consumer protection system is rigged. Okay, so it's rigged in the fact of and this is more national, not state, not even county. And so there's on one sector, when we're just talking about Pacific Islanders, on one side we have this notion, this idea, right? Okay, if you're Polynesian, I'm gonna need you to be bigger. You got to be bigger. You got to do, we are a part of a stereotype.
Yeah.
So essentially, if you're not in that stereotype of, big, happy, right, people that play football sometimes and then don't, and work at the airport, essentially they don't really think you're Pacific Islander.
Pacific Islander, yeah.
That is just the notion. That's how we are looked at from the outside in, right? And I think it's great that we have good ideas about our positionality, because it makes us feel better about it. But the truth is that's really, do you guys not see that? If you are not bigger, or like if you're smaller, like there are Islanders and I'm like, all right, that's an Islander, but I know that they're not, they're just fit, right? If you're an Islander and you're fit, they don't even think you're an Islander. They think you're Mexican, or like some other type of like, right? And that's shitty.
Or Salata in the live chat said they think you're Fia Palangi.
Fia Palangi, right?
Yeah.
And that's shitty right there, because right there and then it makes you feel like you can't actually. It makes you feel a little confused. And then on top of that, we have a food system in the United States where, truthfully, everything is processed. We have 4 types of food that is minimal processed, culinary processed, processed food, and then ultra processed, right? We are consuming all of that. If you're in the US, and just like you said, if you're not gardening, pesticides also, there's fruits and vegetables here, there's pesticides on them. So that's why they tell you to clean it. That's why, frozen fruits and vegetables are a little bit better, because they don't have those pesticides as much as actual fruits and vegetables. But fruits and vegetables are considered minimal processed food. And the truth is there's not enough food literacy in our system to teach us about the food that we're buying, consuming, and going broke. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
That's why I say it is systematic in a very big way, but there is choices. And at the end of the day, a lot of the times we're hit with both. We're hit with like a stereotype. Then we're hit with choices that we don't even know what good choices to make. And the truth is the granola bar has more sugar than, say, I don't know, like a piece of meat, right? But then again, the meat, I don't even know if it's meat. If it's processed meat, it's 10 times worse from you than it is for, you know, a granola bar, right? But the truth is most people that are minoritized, that are from indigenous backgrounds, we're glucose intolerant. Like we don't process sugar the way that other communities do, because our ancestors, like you said, did not live off of food that had high sugar.
Yeah.
So we also have to take that into account. If you're first generation, you'll be hit with prediabetes. You know, we don't think about it, but the people that you're talking about being so obese and all this stuff, well, the truth is they're addicted to food. That's an addiction. We don't think of addiction. We just think of drugs, alcohol.
It's a habit.
It's a habit.
Yeah, food can be addictive too. Yeah.
Correct. And so essentially, you know, these folks are dealing with being pre-diabetic or diabetic, not knowing it. Then they die from a heart attack because they didn't know they were diabetic because they don't have health insurance. And that's what we're hit with. Like,
Yeah, I've literally heard girls, Polynesian girls who are at a normal weight or a little bit more skinnier, think that they have to eat a lot more because a lot of their aunties think that they're not beautiful because they're not big. So we give more the credit to the girls who are naturally a little bit more bigger on the heavier side. Oh, she's beautiful. She got the island body, right? But I've heard it from girls directly who are skinny. I know there's one girl. She's skinny, but that's her normal body type, right? But every single time she goes to a function, all her aunties like, oh, she's unhealthy, or you fipalangi, or are you one of those diets, or do you eat? Are you okay? All right, so it's crazy.
And usually that's the same girl you will see at every single fatongia or falavalave up until she's like 60. Right, she made it that long.
All right, yeah, no worries. I see Balafessa here on the live chat. Shout out to you guys. Balafessa, that's true. I'm 6'1", 240, stocky, and I'm mistaken for Indian more often than I am PI. You know, I don't know. Maybe I should just gain weight. Maybe people will watch the podcast more. Oh, this guy is really a true Polynesian.
He's authentic.
Polynesian.
We have a polymukbano.
You know, I'm bedridden and I have gout, and then maybe finally people believe.
You don't want gout, but you don't want no
Polynesian. But no worries. I just have one thing I want to say, and before I pass, we go to the next topic, because this is something I know we talked about before, how a lot of our younger people die, right? And this is going to be very brutal. Everybody that's watching this round, this is going to be very brutal and harsh truth for a lot of you guys. But one of the biggest things I do see, especially in the Pacific Island community, is what hurts me and makes me so sad is when I see a young male, right? Young male who's a father, who has multiple kids and a whole family, and he passes away because of obesity, because he's overweight, whether it's diabetes, heart attack. And a lot of times, usually what happens, and this is the conversation most people shy away from, but this is why we have this podcast, right? You know, obviously they're gonna have the funeral, and obviously what happens is, you know, they're gonna talk about him and, hey, he's a great guy, whatever, you know, he was a good guy in the community, and this and that. But I have to be honest, when I see somebody die with obesity, especially with the male, and I believe as men, our responsibility and duty is to take care of our family, is to provide, protect for our kids, especially if your wife is staying at home to raise your children, and then you can go out there to provide and protect them. I do believe that's the duty of masculine men. When I see Pacific Islanders, and especially fathers, die young because of something they can control, right? Obesity is a preventable disease, right? You can control it based on your healthy lifestyle and habits. When I see a young man like that pass away, for me, I think what people don't want to say is, I think that's selfish. I think as a father, you have to know that, look, that's my kids right there. I'm the one working. I'm the one that have to provide and protect my kids. At some point, when he started gaining weight, you have to realize that my health is going to affect my ability to provide for my kids. It's going to affect my future with my kids. At some point, in your mind, you have to realize that that's affecting my ability as a father to fulfill my duties. And if I want to be involved in my kid's life, I have to start taking accountability and responsibility for my health. Nobody's going to raise my kids, and nobody's going to take care of my kids better than I am. I am their father. I have a wife that's looking for me, supports me. So that's something that I think that's not a good reason for you to go on to the next road with something that you can control, and it's something that you can control and prevent, especially when you have people looking that rely on you, right? And it's so sad for me to see, the life of those kids, what happens after when he passes away. It's hard, right? Because a lot of their wives are stay-at-home wives, so they have to go out to get a job, and a lot of times their wife has to get 2 or 3 jobs or rely on the family. The kids grow up with the father, and of course, statistically, when you already know when the father's not around, it gives up kids who grow up without the father. They have they do worse in school. They do worse when they do worse when it comes to mental health. They do worse when it comes to going to prison. So I think that we need to, if you're a passive owner and you have children and you start to realize that you are getting overweight, and you realize that you're going to the doctor and the doctor's telling you, hey, you need to make a life changing decision right now, because if you keep this up in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, there's a possibility that you may die before 30, right? So I think that's something I hate seeing. Like, I hate seeing, and I know for a fact that obesity is something that we can control. All you have to do is eat healthy and work out. And for me, I just can't fathom myself knowing that I have kids, and then I'm gonna eat myself to death, and then I'm just gonna go and pass away, and then leave them behind, and then hopefully you feel the responsibility that I was created to do and put on this world to do. So I just think it's extremely selfish for that person to do that.
Oh, it truly is.
Yeah, and in my experience too, when stuff like that happens in the Polynesian household, the father leaves those responsibilities on the oldest son.
Yeah.
And then now he gets robbed out of growing up
and experiencing childhood,
creating opportunity for himself. Because just like when mom's getting 2 jobs, now he's working a job too. He's doing security under the table.
And some families, not even the oldest son, it's the oldest daughter. Now the oldest daughter has to go out there and work.
Yeah.
Right, because I know a couple daughters, a couple friends of mine, and family members, that they're the oldest daughter, and their dad passed away, so they have to step into that role. And I think for a woman to take that responsibility of being a man at a very young age for a woman, I mean, that's tough, man.
No, yeah, that's fucked up.
That's the only thing is just I don't know. I think we just gotta have control over the whole situation. It's an addiction. It's a habit. I understand. But even with as much, like, that's the good thing about Monica being here, with the city, she able to see a lot of this stuff being planned out for the city, right?
Yeah.
Like all in ghetto places, how you have fast food spots placed strategically in other places, but it's the convenience for us that we get to stuff our faces at any time of the day.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can't just picture myself eating myself, knowing that I'm gonna die soon based on what I'm doing, and I have these little kids running around, and they think I'm gonna live forever, and I'm always gonna be there for them. And then they know that their dad's there. I'm the only one who's gonna take care of their kids is you. I just can't think to myself, I'm gonna just keep eating and eventually I'm gonna die, and not think about who's gonna take care of my kids. Like, I don't think I wonder if that thought process ever came to their mind. Even
during too, because you got some dads who are like going through, like, they already got the bad news, like, hey, it's not really looking good for you. Then they start cutting off your toes and fingers, and you're still doing it, right?
And they're still having kids. They're still having kids, pregnant along the way, right? And they're still continuing that bad, that unhealthy lifestyle. It's crazy. I just can't understand that, man.
Yeah. So I was like 280 like 3 years ago, right? But my kids, they're active. They're active in youth sports and everything. They play basketball, but right now they play football year round. And then I had to make a real decision, because I remember my grandfather, he died in his early 50s.
Yeah, that's young.
Yeah, my dad, he died like 2 months before his 51st birthday. He was 50. He didn't even get to collect a retirement check, So you as a father, you sort of got to take the responsibility to look at what the hell your family timeline looks like.
Yeah.
Look at the mistakes that was already made, you know. And if you continue to make those same mistakes, you got to look in the mirror and you have to fucking change the footprint of your family, and you know, start standing more on your toes to be a little more progressive rather than being comfortable and just, you know, just sitting on your heels all day.
Yeah.
And
Like the myth he was talking about. And the only reason why I don't believe that myth to exist is for my dad died of natural illness, right?
Yeah.
Died of cancer, but always love Samoan food.
Yeah.
Always love like island food, right? And what's crazy is when people start talking about stats and all that bullshit, and then we come here to the States, so you can't eat coconut no more because it's causing this. You mean to tell me I have a lineage that made it to like 105 eating the same thing? Now I can't, so I got to go a soy option.
Yeah.
Get the fuck
It's
out.
not the process. It's not the island food. It's the processed food, the sugar. That's all it is. All right, no worries. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody watching right now. Yeah, we Asipa Festa Salote T on the live chat said right alongside other great Polynesians who put Polynesian fitness on the map. Facts. Thanks. Good to see you, Salote, on here. And BL17, as always. Hey, BL17, take over the live chat, BL17. You always do a great job. Get those likes up. Let's get on everybody's case to make sure to get those likes up. Guys, let's get those likes up. There's 16 people watching. We need to get 13 more likes. Press that like button. It's free, all right? All right. It's easier than
There's 5 likes right now, and one of those is mine.
Pressing that like button is way easier for you to walk than going to your fridge and grabbing some food. I promise you, it just takes 1 second right there on your screen. Click on that like button. Let's get that algorithm going. All right. No less. Thank you so much to it. You know, let's pass it to let's go on to the next topic that you brought up, T. You brought up that one of the things that you see is the toxic mindset and behaviors that you saw was the pride, right? The excessive pride with our people, and I wrote it down. Pride and food and greed. Pride and greed. All right. So can you elaborate on that based on what you see? The pride and the greed, and we can dive in on that topic.
Pride and greed. The greed of food.
Okay,
So now
greed
we
of-
have the addiction. Now
we
we
can
have
go
the
back.
habit, and now we're just greedy all over the place, right? A lot of the fatongias and the falavlavas that I see is usually with people coming together to put all this stuff together just so they can get something out of it. It's
Yeah.
never really for the family at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I see a lot of this in churches. I don't really care if you get upset out there, but a lot of you ayufufi, meaning you scoop your plate to take home, is much different than if that's what the occasion is about. Okay, take stuff home, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much greed when it comes to a lot of these stuff with food, and from what I see in my own community, they're the fat ones. Back to the fat ones again.
Yeah.
Right. They're usually the fat ones with so much greed that have so much food, have a line of kids, and then they start to teach their kids this bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. Make a plate, make 7 plates, stack them up high, run them to the car.
Oh yeah.
And then when you're done, come back.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's just when you see it over there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the entire week how they do this stuff? Right.
Yeah.
For wherever they go, whoever's a house they go to. And the pride part about it is they're happy about it. It brings no shame. They have that
Yeah.
pride and be like, oh yeah, you know, this is what we do. We've focused our entire culture to food instead of like the values of being able to teach your kids. How can you future-proof your family and your kids to be able to show respect? Like for this room, for example, we got 3 gentlemen and 1 lady, right? There's an unspoken amount of respect. These are the kind of values that a lot of Polynesian people should be considering focusing on rather than being prideful of something that's so stupid as food, right? We have so much pride in food. We put so much money into it. And then we have the processed food. We have an overconsumption of food because we have this pride of our entire. Let me ask you guys this: if you guys look at anybody, how would you guys be able to identify that person as a Samoan?
As a Samoan,
You know,
I think I've just seen enough Samoans. There's a little difference between us and Tongans. Obviously, the physical part is something I look for. I think Samoans are a little bit more wider than Tongans. But
I think
I think
this-
it's subtle. I don't think there's something that you could that's distinguishable that you can just obviously just see.
Yeah, I think we look so similar because Tongans are, we're a hybrid. We're a hybrid of people. We all know this. It's like an unspoken truth. A hybrid of native Fijians and Samoans.
Okay,
Right?
so
So you guys are lighter and have right.
now
I think
we're
they're lighter.
we're pretty dark.
Now I think both
Oh,
sides are
yeah.
light and dark. Yeah.
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 But from far away, how would you be able to identify that those people are poly people?
I can't honestly because I've been mistaken.
Ask him to do
yeah.
the chihu.
All right.
Chihu,
Yeah.
what is the number one thing you always see? Barbecues, foods, plate sale.
Oh yeah.
Man,
Right?
Plate sale.
You can
Man.
tell it's a poly when there's like so much trucks with so much people
Yeah.
standing around the grill just
Yeah.
forking the barbecue. And that's the thing that's more popular. And for Samoans, it's like the dance and the ample amount of food that's being pumped out from the kitchen. That's what we're known for,
Mm.
from what I see. Usually the dance, that's it. We're not known for the avafata fasa between me and a person. We're not known for the values we teach in the house. We are known for just, hey, look, they got so much plates and they're fat. All you fat people, I love you, but man, come on, take that pride away, take that greed away.
Yeah, as far as the collecting the plates after every function, yeah, it seems like for some people they do it very excessively. They'll just pack before they even eat. Like we haven't even eaten yet, they're already packing.
Yeah, that's the greed
That-
part. That like it's
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
it's something they're conditioned.
Maybe after, well, once everybody's eating and we're all full,
Right.
and then we can figure out to take whatever's left, and then you can figure out what to take.
And
But
that's
after-
like the greed in the other form is something that you talked about you think it's selfish for the dad to be able to eat himself to death.
Yeah.
Right. That's the other greedy part. Right. We find like, even like as a parent, you're gonna be so greedy that you're gonna stuff your face all the time, knowing that your kids might be hungry, but let me just get a little bit in here. Right. And then from there, it trickles into all of this stuff adds up that at like 45, you have very, very bad issues like high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes.
Yeah.
That's all for pride and greed. The pride thing is that we focus the culture and all this stuff into the wrong thing, which is food.
Yeah.
The greed part comes in is when now you're trying to condition everything about yourself that I need to take care of my stomach first before I can take care of my loved ones, or before I even can take care of myself and my mental state to be able to take care of my community and my family.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No worries. I see Balbino 73. Sheesh. Hey, what's up, Balbino? Good to see you on the live chat. And Malia V, I'm back. Good to see you, Malia. All right. And Jordan, Monica, anything you want to add on to T's topic about greed and pride?
Good.
No, you sound like you about to start. Go ahead.
Greed and pride.
But
It's a poor man's mentality.
But your greed and pride was you were
It's-
more focused on the food, right? Yeah, the food. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a lot of things is centered around food, right? If I look at my own people, the only time I can tell the difference between Polynesian people is what are you guys wearing again?
Oh,
I forgot what it's called.
Tavala.
Tawal,
Yeah.
right? And the things like that I look at, and then when I hang around friends or mutual friends, whether it's through music or through something that I'm doing within sports, it's easy for them to tell because as soon as they smell the food, and for a lot of people, it doesn't really hit them. And for me, it's like, why can't you just know us being the healthy ones,
Right.
being the fit ones that you can't even catch our asses when we're on the field, right? Or you can't even block us at a volleyball net. Why we gotta be the ones? Oh, the polys out here. They got the food. And then our pride comes into place where we have food. Let's just add more food.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
You want to say anything, Samoan?
In Samoan, so yeah, I fifi. Awole leo I loku mo ko kale sia mo fa ko ngai ai fifi la ia. I will fale fai ko fanga wela umi ai ka vale. It's sad. And then you say, oh, just leave it to God. Even that mindset, right?
Oh.
In Christianity,
Yo.
it says faith with no action. If your action is just to stuff
You know-
your face, have faith, you're gonna die.
You know what? One of the most toxic things I've ever heard of people say is when somebody passes away, whether it's like obesity or especially when it comes to obesity, right? And they die at a young age, the way they justify it, oh, it was his time. You know,
Fatalistic.
they use the
Fatalistic
God's plan.
mentality.
yeah, it was God's plan.
Yeah.
No, that was not God's plan for you to
Right.
eat yourself to death. That's so crazy to me. I've heard that so many times when people pass away. So, you know, it's just it was his time. And I was like, no, that God did not create us so we eat ourselves to death and leave behind a whole ass family, so we can suffer and they suffer because now you're not there to fulfill your responsibility and duty. That's crazy talk to me.
Right.
But we yeah, I
And
hear,
then
that, I hear
there's-
that all the time.
And I don't want to shit on people who have like actual, illnesses, things that is hard to control. It's unfortunate that it's not something that you'll be able to control as far as
Yeah, we're talking about obesity. Yeah, we're just
But
talking about-
even at
yeah.
obesity itself, because some people that whether it's a sickness or you fat, it's always, oh, just leave it to God. God's time will come. I promise you, if your faith is in the burger you eat, that burger will send you straight to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. No, that is not God's plan for us to eat ourselves to death.
You guys making Drake sound smart right now.
All right, no worries. All right, but yeah, appreciate that topic. That was a good topic to bring up. T, appreciate everybody on the live chat. Let's get those likes up, y'all. Shout out to everybody on the live chat. All right, thank you so much for watching. Get those likes up. I only see 3 likes. That means there's 15 of you guys, 15 people. Salote, Biels, Malia, Palafesa. I'm gonna reach out to you guys directly. You guys better press that damn like button. But nevertheless, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, if you guys want to support my channel, drop a super chat. And every single super chat that's written, I'll definitely read it on the screen, put it on the screen, and read it for you guys. But let me pass it to let's talk about Jordan's topic. I think Jordan has a good topic that we definitely need to discuss. He was talking about how Polynesians are complacent, and have a lack of hunger in today, especially we all here in America, especially in the West, in Western society. They have this. When you guys already heard my take when it comes to Western society, especially in America, I believe in America is the land of opportunity. We can all come here and we all have an opportunity to make something out of ourselves and to pursue our goals and dreams. There's nothing stopping you here in America. We've seen countless examples of people who started from nothing and they made something out of their life. So obviously you can't just dream about your goals and dreams. You actually have to go out there and work and put in that work and put in that consistency and that discipline. But there's a lot of our kids, Polynesians, men and women, who have a lot of potential, who have the talent, who have a unique skill that we're blessed with. It's just a lack of inaction and laziness and complacency, and they have a lack of drive. Especially you mentioned before the younger generation, right?
Yeah.
The younger generation, they don't have that drive that our older generation, especially they had to move over here and make a life out of themselves. They had a drive to succeed here, but it's lacking in our younger generation. When they have everything, they have the resources, we have the internet, we have social media, we have running water, we have all these things to help us succeed, but we don't take advantage of it. I'll let you open that up for
Shit,
us.
kids don't even play outside no more. Like that's how
true.
bad it is.
Yeah,
like
that's
true.
for real.
Yeah.
Like I remember the days and stuff when we were younger. Like I wasn't even allowed in the house until the street lights came on, like on some real shit. But yeah, the complacency thing, and part of it is to me it's just the comfortability of this last generation who did have it a little bit harder, wanting to make it so easy for this next generation. They made it so easy for the next generation that they didn't put no fight power in them. They didn't put no willpower in them. Like you're giving them so many choices. It's almost like when you're at the restaurant and your menu has 1,000 items. You're never gonna make your selection. But when you're at the restaurant like Mel's Diner, you only got 5 things to pick. Like give me the burger. It's easy to make a choice. So you got so many options, and your lifestyle is so laid back now that you don't have the urgency to really make a decision that's gonna carry you. You're so used to just flying off the wind, and hey, if it works, it works, and if it don't, it don't. It is what it is, and I'll try again next time. And usually sometimes that try doesn't even come up, because if I didn't like it or if I didn't like working or something like that, then I don't really feel like it, And people and I want to say even in today's generation, everybody's so focused on we're generationally cursed, I'm saying? I'm trying to build that generational wealth. but you're not really looking for that generational wealth, bro. You're looking for that quick hit. You know,
Dopamine,
you're
dopamine, the quick
you're-
dopamine.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're looking for the lottery ticket. That's all you're doing. You ain't putting the work in forward. And if you're really trying to build that generational wealth or something like that, where you're trying to change the footprint of what you are already handed, then it takes a whole generation. You don't fucking understand the generational wealth part. Like it's gonna take your whole life to work hard to make sure that your child is gonna have it better. But at the same time, do you want your child to have it that much better? You still want to groom him to make sure that he's gonna be complacent, or he'll be hungry enough to take your legacy and elevate that. You know, outsource it and make it bigger. Go do something else and grow from that too, to continue growing. But it's just the lack of hunger, how easy. What's up, bro?
No, I was gonna say sorry for
No.
cutting you off, but let's start with the complacency. Why are people complacent? Because obviously we can work hard. You know, we're humans, right? If we have a vision, if we really want to do something, we can do it, right? So we I think Paulo Fester brought it up before in the last night. We have the capacity to work hard, right? Because we can all work hard if something means something. If it's important, there's an old quote: "If it's important for you, you find a way. If it's not important for you, you find an excuse." All right. So obviously, our people can work hard when we put our minds together. Obviously, I know we can work hard because when there's a function, we all come together and put in extreme amounts of work. Sometimes we don't even sleep, especially funerals, right? All right.
You triggering me with that word, bro.
I've seen it, man. I've been there. We're awake the whole 3 days just to get the function together and to complete the funeral or the birthday or the marriage, right? So obviously we can work hard, but let's break that down real quick for you guys. Like why are we so complacent?
I don't know. To me, it's putting the energy where you need to put it rather than where you want to put it. You know, there's a difference between needs and wants. And I feel like sometimes, or my bad, excuse me, like I've seen it where sometimes with the work that's necessary, like I take football, for example, right?
Yeah.
I got nephews, I got that played ball who were elevated through college, were college athletes type stuff.
Yeah.
Off season, like they kind of chilled. Like, bro, you need to put this work in. You talking about the draft. You talking about going next level. You talking about doing something different. You talking about using this opportunity to build yourself and elevate your game and everything. But the second practice is over. The second football season's over. But you're in the game. I mean, you're on the game. You're not in the gym. You ain't on the field doing cone and feet work. You sort of just chilling and eating. You come back during the off season. Now you out of shape, and you gotta go through the off season to put yourself back into shape. You're supposed to be taking that time to get into better shape. You know what I'm saying? Like you're no longer taking that contact. You're doing the work that's necessary to make sure that your body's healing right and you're getting twitchier, stronger, thicker, or you're doing the work that's necessary in order to do what you really want to do. But when the want overrides the need, man, it's just too easy to do what you want. And yeah, we in the Bay Area, we're in America, like it's hella easy to do what you want.
I think one of the obvious reasons why we're complacent, I think it has to be brought up, is our health, like obesity, right? Because if you're overweight, you're not going to have the drive and energy and to consistently go out there and put in the work. Anybody that's worked towards something, goal or dream, we all know it requires a lot of consistent amounts of work every single day to be able to perform at your best. But if you don't, like I said, if you can't even get out of bed, how are you going to expect to go out there and work hard every single day and be hungry? Right. So I think that's number one. I always say, sometimes people ask me or my younger siblings or family members, what's one thing I could do to change my life? I always say, start with yourself, your health. That's something you can control. Because I know for a fact, everybody can attest to this. When you feel healthier, you feel what? You feel better.
Yeah.
And you feel like you want to do more things. You want to go outside when you feel healthier. But if you're overweight and you're unhealthy, all you want to do is what?
Just chill, Netflix
Stay
and
at
chill,
home.
grab something to eat.
And then we have social media, so you're glued to social media. That's causing a dopamine hit in your brain, and now you're addicted to the screen, and you're doing nothing. So it takes a lot of action in order to go out there and be hungry. But I think that conversation first is start with your health. It's really, really hard to have that desire and hunger and that consistent discipline if you don't have the energy and the physical body to go out and perform at your best. All right.
To
ahead.
piggyback off of that, so diabetes. I think a lot of people are unaware that when you are diabetic, you're mentally unstable because your sugar levels are just really down, and so it makes you feel some type of way.
Yeah.
Now, mental health within the PI community is very high, where it actually is, close to that, like 30 or so percent. And again, we're at a 0.4%. And then again, in the US itself, there are 65% of people in the US have a mental challenge and they don't actually get help for it. They don't know they do.
Yeah.
Right. So essentially, what is that implying? Well, it implies a lot of things, right? As of 2012, there was a 77% height in diabetes rates amongst children. Now, if I know that, health is not a big game in our community, but diabetes really was a disease set for older people. You had to be 45 and older to get diabetes.
Yeah.
But at this range of kids, like, as young as 8
already have diabetes.
already have diabetes.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. And so what that implies is kind of what I've mentioned and also what Will has spoke about is the food quality, the food illiteracy that we have in this country as PIs about what we're ingesting. Because essentially when we have all these fun gatherings, like we need a lot of food, right? Because then nobody wants to come or everybody's talking shit.
Yeah.
And so essentially
that's sad. The only way we get our people to come to be productive on something, food has to be involved.
Yeah, and if it's bad food, oh my gosh, everybody's just
They'll
gonna
be
talk about it for
talking
years.
all the shit in the world.
And they'll never forget it either, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't bring up that side mean that you came through that was mushy
If
as
I tell
hell.
people I have a seminar to teach you about nutrition, I have a seminar, I'm gonna bring a professional, nobody's gonna come. But if I say there's food, yeah, they'll show up.
Right. And so, the lack of food literacy that we have in this country in general, because we are not the only ones that are suffering from this. We are just a small percentage of the minoritized population. When I say minoritized, I mean like minorities within the US, right? Minorities that suffer greatly, that are, a part of this whole broad spectrum through the lens of intersectionality, right? And so we're not talking about the minorities that, come here with money and build businesses like, our Asian counterparts, right? We're not talking about them. We're talking about like everybody else, and so we are yet just a speck within everybody else that is in this whole spectrum of this systematic oppression that we're enduring. And we are also a part of, those that play the oppression Olympics, where we don't actually want to verify what's going on because it sucks. And nobody wants to look weak. like half of all of our boys want to, most parents, prep their boys to play, football, not even basketball, not even golf, right? Which is like less harmful on the body. It's just football, right? And then that's the most impactful sport that we have in the US. Why? Because that's what we've been stereotyped to do. Like nobody, baseball. I think there's like one PI baseball player, right?
Yeah.
Low impact on the body, low impact. Do you think that that's like, right? I remember I was talking to a really good friend of mine, and I had a cousin who was like my brother, and he passed away at 27. And I was talking about him because like he was everything to our family, and he was a swimmer, and like he could swim so fast. Like it's amazing that we don't put our kids in swimming. Like we're PIs, like we were around water.
Yeah.
Like he was honestly, he could have gone to the Olympics, but he got out of it because his two older brothers played football and they used to tease him about it.
Yeah.
But he was so talented. I mean, I'm talking about, I remember because I lived in Washington at one point, and he had like muscles at the age of 8.
Wow.
Like he was, smaller, and he could swim so fast, faster than anybody. Like my uncle put him in these like competitions. He was so good, but he stopped because there was a stereotype for PIs or a stereotype. And in Washington, that you're only black or white. So they looked at us like we were black. So we have to play football like the boys, right? And nobody cares about what the girls do. But like, seriously, like, so he stopped. And if he didn't stop, who knows? He would have been in the Olympics, like literally in the Olympics.
Do you guys know who Tony Finau is?
Yeah.
Right? You know who Tony Finau is?
No,
He's a professional golf player. He's
Oh
Italian.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
successful. Very successful.
Right.
I went to high school with him my freshman year in West High School in Utah. And I remember he was but Tony Finau is a big dude. He's like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, he's huge.
He's huge. He's like big hands. I remember, but his father put him and his younger brother through golf at a very young age. And I remember as freshmen, because I played football, and like 99% of the poly kids play football, they would always make fun of him, with Tony Finau, for playing golf. Right? They will mock him and just talk behind his back. Oh, look at this guy playing golf, Tongan guy playing golf, and you're
So
just
not a manly sport.
yeah, just laughing about
Probably
it.
giving that Pelongi stigma too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Straight up.
but
Yeah.
who's laughing now?
Right.
Mm.
Multi-millionaire, right?
Right.
Successful in the PGA Tour, has a couple wins. He's doing really successful, way beyond the expectations of anybody had. But that's the thing. I think, because since we're talking about complacency, and we're talking about desire, right? Hunger. I think in order to, because I'm just trying to think about like why am I? I think it's hard to, because I came from the islands. Most of our older parents, they came from the islands. I think there's a primal instinct of survival when you get pushed to when you need to survive, you're willing to do anything, right? So when I came here from America, most people our parents came here to America. I don't think it's a matter of being hungry or our parents were hungry. It's just they had to survive. Either you survive or you don't have a place to eat or you don't have a roof over your head. So I think most people, if you're put in a position to survive and your back is against the wall, you'll find a way to survive. All right. But this generation and obviously the goal of every parent is to make sure that to give your kids a better life than you had. So, so our parents worked really, really hard to give us a very comfortable life, even though that's a good sign of progression. But I think one of the hardest things of if you are very successful at you guys is to make sure that your kids can have the same hunger as you. But it's hard to get that hunger if you're not in that circumstance when your back is against the wall and you have to go out and make things happen. So, I think we haven't been. How many generations have Tongans been here?
I would say most Tongans.
Like 2 or 3 generations.
Yeah,
2 or 3 generations.
Right.
All right. I think I don't think it's I think.
Well, y'all came here first.
Yeah.
So
It's
most are
only
here
like-
out here first.
Only like 2 more,
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 more generations of it. It's the same.
Yeah. I don't think it's a. I mean, I know a lot of our kids are complacent, and I think and of course we always go to what we know, right? Is most of us go to work at the airport or we go work at the caretaking,
Yeah.
the women, or they do yate construction. But the thing is, we're always gonna navigate towards something that we see within our community, right? So whatever we see is what we believe. It becomes a reality. So if you see if your standard of success of making money and that only comes from one profession, whether it's the airport, whether it's yate construction, or whatever it's caretaking, then naturally as a child you're gonna navigate towards that. I think what we just need is more Pacific Islanders stepping up and breaking into new industries, so that way see that it's possible. Because I know once we that's why Pacific Islanders. Why do Pacific Islanders believe they can make it into the NFL? Why? Because there's countless examples. There's countless. Like I think that's a statistic, right? 1/3 of the NFL is like Pacific Islander. I think we have the highest rate of
success
or percentages as far as our people, our population that's in the NFL.
Yeah.
So it's already been proven that it can be done.
It was like, I think the study was like there's 3,000 NFL players that are on roster and practice squads, and there's over 300 Polynesians.
Yeah, 300 Polynesians, right?
Yeah.
So a young Pacific Islander growing up, he will never doubt that he can make it because he's seen it happen. It's already been done before. So it's not. So obviously he's gonna it's done. He's gonna have a vision. He's gonna have to go, and it's just a matter of him executing. But I think for us is about complacency and why more of our kids ain't gonna go out there and try something new. I think we just need more of us, especially the new generation, to step out and not be afraid of taking risk And not being, obviously when you try new things, we have our people have that herd mentality that if you go against the grain, they're gonna ostracize you and push you out. Look at this weird dude. Look at this abnormal guy trying something out, trying something new.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get a lot of criticism. But I think anybody out there that's watching this and has a goal and dream, I think it's very imperative that you do. And when you're able to succeed, what you're gonna do is you're gonna set a precedent that it can be done. And these kids growing up, and that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast. I have faith in myself, and I know I'm gonna work hard to make this happen. But I know for a fact that once I do it, the next kid going into content creation, he's like, oh man, he did it. Oh, I can do it. I just gotta get the blueprint, and it's possible that he was able to do it, and I can do it. But I think like I said, we have the capacity to do it. It's just we need more examples, and that's why a lot of cultures, like the Latinos, the blacks, the whites, the Chinese, the reason why they know they can be successful, they have multiple examples of millionaires and billionaires, right?
Actors.
Actors, right? And they've been here a little bit longer than us as far as generation and building wealth here in America.
Well, also they're larger in population.
And large in population. So we're
Yeah.
we're less than 1%. So we don't have a lot of examples to look to. So that one Polynesian that's very successful, he's one out of like a population of less than 1%.
Yeah.
All right.
Which
And
is the Rock, I think.
which is the
Right.
wrong.
But
But a lot of
that's an
people don't.
example,
Oh,
though.
he's
Yeah,
There you
right.
Hey, and it's crazy that you bring him up
Right.
too, because like niggas be hating on the
But a lot
Rock.
of people
Why?
don't. They think he's not true Polynesian.
That's
Nah,
too much.
like, to
He looks
me,
just like his
I
mom.
relate
Like,
that shit to like
Yeah.
No. What the Rock, if you're watching this right now, become overweight and obese. I promise you.
Oh,
They
look
will
like
support
Maui.
you. They'll support you 100%.
You'll be on
Right.
every
Hey, you come
billboard.
out
I
looking like
promise.
Maui, but it's authentic again. But like to me, like the Rock, he almost got like that underground rapper stigma type. Like your job's not to be a fucking underground rapper.
Yeah.
Your
He
job to be
actually-
fucking Snoop Dogg or Drake.
He
you know?
actually exemplifies what it is to be like a PI, overcoming his struggles, right?
Exactly.
He talks about it a lot. And if you're going to be the person, behind pressing buttons and saying all kind of stuff about The Rock, then how come you not on the screen and
It's-
at home 300-something pounds?
Right. It's so funny because so many people are like, he looks Samoan. But really, when you look at his dad, it looks like his dad.
Yeah.
His dad is African American, but what does that say about us?
Yeah.
What does that say? It's something we don't want to say most of the time. But I don't, to me, I think people are people. We are all one, so it's not a big deal.
But he was, and The Rock is actually a good example
Yeah.
because he was able to step out of wrestling and then pursue
Yeah.
Hollywood.
It's just the problem with The Rock is one.
Yeah.
It's only
Right.
one.
And he-
we just
but
need
the-
more countless. We need more examples.
But his example that he followed was his whole lineage of his family being in wrestling.
Yeah.
He just took that one chance just to go to Hollywood, and then look, we got so many franchises coming out now.
All right. And every wrestler trying to get out of wrestling and stuff to go be an actor too.
I think to
Yeah,
add,
he set a new standard for the wrestlers.
Yeah.
I think to add to your point was something that you said last week. All right. So this is the part where, like, if you're like at least under 25, to be able to step out of those, the typical airport jobs, the caregiving jobs, and
Construction.
yeah, that's when I was second Will on this, what he said last week. Don't listen to your parents when it comes to that. If you want to go pursue it, absolutely put 100% of yourself behind it. Go pursue it. The thing is, and like I said last week, do it with some respect. Be mindful of what they say, but don't take it to heart.
Yeah.
Be mindful in the sense that they're trying to, take that as motivation. And I think that's where the pride actually is supposed to go to, is proving even your parents wrong.
Right.
Have the sense of pride to be like, you know what? I'm gonna give you a paycheck that you're probably not gonna talk to me like this ever again. Not to their face, but you're taking the chance for you to step out and be able to do that. So I think that's something that you mentioned last week is don't listen to your parents when it comes to that. Be respectful, be mindful of what they say, but don't take it to heart. So that way, you're not lazy enough to just have to follow every airport job. Airport jobs, jeez.
Hey,
Yeah.
but you gotta make a plan off of it, for real. Like it's gotta be one of those things that's gotta be dialed in.
But
and-
Right.
but,
And
here's
that's
the,
okay
but I don't
too.
want to seem like I'm a hater or I'm downgrading the airport job. So like even if
Yeah.
you don't have, you can still make a lot of money in airport jobs. So
Mhm.
you can rise up in the hierarchy and get it to manager. All right. So the thing is, like, if you airport is something you want to do, all I'm saying is like there's always something better. So maybe you are. Maybe you want to go. Maybe you want to pursue a career in airport. That's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But there's different. But you can go
Like
higher
a
than that.
pilot.
Or
There you
engineer.
go.
engineer,
Like,
or
Or-
just
Right.
or be the one running the whole airport.
Right.
Or-
if you don't mind,
Right.
I just want to
Those
like
guys big bang.
I just want
Big.
to throw like an
Big
example out too,
Mhm.
because like in the Bay Area, construction is hella big. We're always building out here.
Yeah.
And out here in the Bay Area, unions are hella big.
Yeah.
But Polynesians are sort of groomed into unions.
Yeah.
Like most of them, they're either pile drivers, which is just you on a you sitting there breaking your back all day, or
The
you're
crane.
doing the crane, or
Mhm.
you're doing concrete, or you're a teamster.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. The only one that really got paper is the crane.
Yeah.
But everybody else, they're making like $25-$30 an hour. Yeah, I work construction, but I seen that shit already. I knew the outcome of being a teamster or being one of them crane operators or doing concrete. Fuck that, bro. I'm an electrician, blood. You
Yeah.
see me fucking playing with wires all day.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like that's one of the top tier trades on the construction
Yeah.
side.
Electricians make yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I might be a construction worker, but there's levels to this shit, and there's always information out there. It's all up to you to make sure that like you want to find out what field you would fit in, and what's the most lucrative for you.
Yeah.
You know, like make the conscious decision with a dialed in plan to do your research and know the career paths and know that you ain't pigeonholed into that one area, because there's hella different options.
And also, I think also when it comes to like inspiring the children to have goals and dreams,
Mhm.
I think one of the things that because our parents had to work every single day in order just so we can survive, they weren't around. Most of us growing up, like our parents weren't around. They were either at work, and then the only time we saw our parents for me it was just when we went to church, and that was it. But most of the time, my mom was working every single day. My dad was working every single day just to put food on the table, right? But I think I think one of the things that that I see, especially when I have kids, is just be more involved. I'm still gonna work really, really hard, but maybe have more time spending with the kids, and of course, being that example. I think one of the people that especially on social media, I follow is like they're very involved in their lives, but not only they don't tell their kids about their ambitions and dreams, they show them through their own ambitions, and then their kids just imitate what they do, right? A lot of times our parents are like, "Hey, go be successful," but they don't imitate it. But I understand that because of the situation, and they had to get just a regular job. It's hard to tell your kids, "Oh, have big goals, have big dreams," but then you're not you're not providing example of anything, the qualities that you're trying to teach them. Like you got to teach them through example. So I think as us as Pacific Islanders, as we get more skills and we become more successful, we can kind of show our kids like the behavior that we want instilled in them, right? So if we're hungry and ambitious, and that's all our kids saw is you just grinding, you grinding.
Mhm.
And like, oh, my dad's grinding every single day. I see the work that he needs to put in. That's just gonna naturally be innate within them, right? But I think that's something that we can kind of change as far as our generation, because most Polynesian kids, our parents are not really involved in our lives with them, because most of them are just working just to pay the bills. But yeah, I don't know. When I see kids that have no ambition, a lot of times it's just nobody has guided them
Yeah.
towards a specific goal, or maybe nobody has instilled in them their worth and value that they can believe it, they can achieve it. So in most Pacific Islander parents, they're just constantly working, so they're not having that conversation with you. I barely talk to my dad, but my dad just worked. My dream just came from survival. My situation, my ambitions just came moving here as an immigrant, and I saw what was possible here, and I was like, I want a better life for myself. But for kids growing up here who have everything, they have all the resources, they go to good schools, they have everything. I think for them it's just more guidance. And if they don't receive that from their own household, then maybe we can step up, and they can and be great examples, and maybe they can see it through other people. But it's really, really hard to. I think inspiration when it comes to ambition, that's something that has to come with it. But,
yeah, I agree. I feel like it's something that can be groomed, but it's kind of hard too when a lot of this generation is kind of raised off the iPad.
Yeah.
Like there's so much social media, there's so much screens, there's so much games, there's so much like for real. Like I got kids. I got 3 boys. My youngest is 8. Man, my 8-year-old, he's a savage on Call of Duty online, man. He be killing like grown ass man, dude. And I'm all like, bro, you shouldn't be this fucking good. But I also put like they play sports year round, and I make sure that I instill the 3 P's on them. And like it's a saying in our household, but I tell them straight up, like, bro, you're a man. No one gives a fuck about what you feeling. Like no one gives a damn about what you're going through. As long as if you ain't producing, providing, and protecting, but you're useless. And you got to do all 3 at the same time. You can't do 2 out of 3. You can't do 1 out of 3.
You got to 3.
You got to do all 3. So
I like that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I instill on the kids and everything, and I make sure that when we go to football, like I'm on the field with them. I'm not just sitting here like wasting my time being one of the sideline parents or anything like that. Fuck that, dude. Like I may not be the head coach, but I'll come out here and make sure I'm doing drills because I know that my kids aren't going to work as hard for anybody else unless they see me out there like pushing them and holding other kids accountable too.
But what I love about that is that not only you're saying that, but you're imitating that behavior, right? You're showing that
Exactly,
behavior.
yeah.
Because a lot of our Polynesian people, it's not that. Don't listen to what I say. Listen.
Don't do what I do. Do what I say.
Do what I say. Right. Like they criticize you for your weight, but then you look at their weight, like, Auntie, you're just as big as.
And even if you do it, it's not the way that they wanted you to do it, even though that's the exact same way that they told you to do it, right?
So it's So I think that's powerful. You keep doing what you're doing, but it's just I think if we want to instill these kids, it's just gonna come from the examples of what they look up to, and the environment that they grow up in.
And I think that applies to the let's take caregiver jobs and airport jobs, right?
Yeah.
I think some of the conditioning is that people just stay in a certain position. I know some solid people that work airport jobs and now they're reaping the benefits of what the company has to offer.
Yeah.
Right. And some people in caregiving that they stepped out and took like a management role.
Yeah.
Right. And it's all because they just told everybody else, stuff you guys, I'm going to go do this. Now they're reaping the benefits of it. It applies to in any job, but then at the same time, it's still a type of conditioning that it has to stay within that certain job, that specific thing that everybody else is doing, right?
Yeah.
But I think, to just step out, take another avenue and try it out. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it in the job that you have right now. Because you always get those people, it's like, oh, it's gonna be too much work.
Yeah.
So why do you want to deal with that? Right?
Those are the people you have to avoid.
Yeah, exactly.
Get new friends or get new
Right.
people that's going to elevate you and push you to be better.
I think-
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just think the other thing with complacency is just the laziness, right? We throw around a whole bunch of, I don't like to expensify stuff. It sound expensive. It's just lazy. Get your ass up and go do something,
No.
right?
Yeah.
I think Paulo Fissa had a perfect explanation of this is that dog in you just to be like, man, and not to take oppression seriously, because that's some of the things that we have to go through is that we don't have an option because we always hear our parents doing this, right? So you don't really have a choice. But if you do have the choice, stop going on social media and talking about oppression, this, colorism, that, racism, and all this kind of stuff. You have the same freedom as every other white dude I see on the street that's shooting up more heroin than you.
Yeah.
Right. If you got that opportunity to go do that, take your mind off of that complacency of talking about racism and all these issues and then go do something.
I think every Polynesian needs to step out the culture for a long period of time just to see what's out there. I think looking back on my life, why I didn't fall into the yate or the airport mentality, or that's only possible because when I moved here, I went to high school in Texas, so I grew up outside the culture. I didn't grow up with other Pacific Islanders. I grew up in Texas, so even though I grew up in Tonga, so I grew up in the culture in Tonga, but then when I came here, I wasn't around Pacific Islanders 24/7. I was around other people. And I just saw a different perspective. I was talking, people that had dreams, had goals, and I didn't get caught up with the island minds. I saw people doing this, doing that. I was, you pushed me to think, okay, you can do this, you can do that. I saw different examples. It wasn't just one thing I saw. Like, a lot of Tongans, all they see is their uncles and their dads working construction or yate, or all they see is their aunties and moms working caregiving, or most of their family working airport. But I was outside that culture. Then when I moved here back to Cali, that's when I started coming back, hanging around more of my family. But I think I think anybody out there, watching this right now, I think I recommend just step outside a little bit. Get outside, something that's uncomfortable, something that's make new friends, people that don't think like you, maybe disagree with you, and just see what's out there in the world. But it's sometimes we live in a bubble.
No, definitely. To chime in on that, I think you're right, and I think all of you guys are actually right
Yeah.
in a big way. Um, I remember being in San Mateo, and honestly, I think my first friends that I ever made in elementary school were two white boys.
Yeah.
Honestly, they were my posse, and it wasn't like that. I think that you know, in my family, there's more males than females.
Yeah.
So essentially, I went to school, and then I made friends with them, and you make friends with people that are common to you and uncommon to you, right? So essentially, they became my friends because we had a commonality, right? The commonality was like all three of us had inactive fathers,
Mhm.
and we were the only kids in the school in San Mateo that did. And so we kind of just vibed with each other, and and it's from there where I realized like you don't have to be friends with people that are so common with you, but there just needs to be a commonality. Like what is the commonality here? And the commonality that we had was that, which was unfortunate, but also Brandon's mom was dating my uncle. He was selling her weed.
No.
So like,
Shout out all the weed dealers.
right, like at the end of the day, that's also why Brandon was one of my best friends. But I don't talk to them anymore. But I know as a person in elementary school, as a kid, me making those friends, and my mom thought it was so weird, but she also didn't, because there just wasn't a lot of females in my family, so
Oh.
she figured like it is what it is, and like but there was also like a lot of Tongans in my school as well. But how Tongans are, like girls here, boys there, so we don't ever talk. Like like so.
But they still get pregnant.
Right. And so what I'm saying is like you don't like, and it's unfortunate that men and women cannot be friends like that. It's really unfortunate. And I say that. No, I say that because the truth is men and women can never be each other's competition. Women and women can, men and men can, but really men and women can never really be each other's competition like that. So it's really unfortunate that we are binded by a social construct that allows us to believe that we cannot.
Okay.
Because if we could probably progress a lot more than we generally have. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to change anything. I'm just stating the facts.
Oh, we need to change it.
Yeah, we
At
definitely
least change it.
Like
We definitely need to change. Oh, I see Savage. Hey, Savage Island. What's up, Doko? Good to see you in the live chat. Shout out to you, Savage. All right. So, yeah, thankfully, everybody. I see Mil Mascardo here for the first time. Alfred Wong. That's the first time I've seen you. Shout out to you, Alfred. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you're watching this right now, don't forget to like and subscribe. Everybody that's watching this and being on the stream for the first time, thank you so much for taking the time to be part of this. All right, so we're gonna just, and of course, if you want to support the platform, drop a super chat on the platform to donate. I wanna let's go. I know I think for the next hour, I want to focus on the topics that the really toxicity
Let's
topics.
go.
oh no.
What's up, you toxic
Oh,
people?
I'm like hella fluent and toxic. Good, what's good?
Right? Like,
All right, so we have to cover this, all of it, every single one of them. Okay, let's start with this. I know we were talking about the 3 Ps,
Yeah.
right?
Produce, provide, protect.
Produce, provide, protect. All right, men. The world does not care about men. You have to go out there and build up your value, right?
Straight up.
If you can't provide, produce, and protect as a man, you're useless. You're literally useless in society. All right. But let me. We talked about this before the podcast. We talked about how in our culture, men, the women and the men, they stay in the house their whole life until they get married and then they leave. And we see there's a lot of men in their 20s, 30s, sometimes 40s. They haven't been married; they still live with their parents. And I know that's a part of our culture that we just stay at home until we're ready to get married, and then we move on and go on to either the garage downstairs or outside. But
The back shack.
at the back shack, I made a TikTok video a long time ago. It was like when the tongue gets married, he just goes from upstairs to downstairs. All right, but yeah, I want to have this conversation. I think in my journey as a man, I think as a man, in order to learn how to provide, protect, produce, I think you have to go out there to the real world and learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. I think that's one of the things as a man, and your role as a man, especially when it comes to the dynamic of a family, you are gonna be the provider, you are gonna be the protector. All right, you're gonna have to bear that responsibility and duty, and I think the only way for you as a man to be able to perform at a very consistent and dependable level, you have to learn how to do that for yourself, right? But the thing is, one of the limitations of staying at home, I think a lot of guys get coddled. I think a lot of guys they don't develop some kind of strong habits, especially when it comes to work ethic and discipline, because they can always depend on their family to take care of them, and they never learn how to be dependable for themselves and stand on 2 feet. So that way they'd be able to provide, protect, and produce for other people, especially for your family. So I want to have that conversation. I don't have a problem with women staying at home until they get married, because they can always find a strong, good man, and that man will take care of her. But like you said, if as a man, nobody's got to take care of you. All right. If you live with your parents right now and your parents die, and then and you're left alone, like nobody's gonna come and save you. You have to go out there, like your parents are gone. Now you have to stand on your own 2 feet and go save yourself. Nobody's gonna do that for you. So I know for a lot of fact that's something I hear from a lot of women sometimes when they date Polynesian men. A lot of them think that, oh, like this guy, like they're not they don't step up, or they're too just they're mama's boys, or they're still living, they have them they're grown men but they act like boys, but when I see them, but they're still living with their parents. So there's a whole conversation we'll have about that. But I think as a man, I think every man needs to go out there to the real world and learn how to handle the real life responsibilities and stand on 2 feet. So that way, if you can take care of yourself and bear responsibility for yourself, you can definitely do that for somebody else. But if you can't even do that for yourself, how can people depend on you, especially when your wife, when she gets pregnant or you have kids, multiple kids, they're all going to depend on you, right? So I want to open up that topic. Should Polynesian men stay at home with their parents until they get married, or is that something that we need to change, or maybe eventually just cut off ASAP?
I don't know. I wasn't at the house when I was 18, and I had a personal experience where I was living on Job Corps. I was on an island. It's like a federal program, like where you got to start work, where you work and get an education. But just like you were saying earlier, you're sort of left on your own on a survival rate where you're gonna do what the hell you need to do to make it work. So when you really find out what it's like to be hungry, and you don't know where that meal is gonna come, you're gonna do what you need to do. Yeah. And then I feel like you need to take those younger years fresh out the house to go fail. You need to take those younger years to go fail, so that way you find out what works. So you find out how to use your strengths and your abilities that's actually going to cater to you, so you can build a foundation and actually move forward. Because if you're sitting at the house and you're 18, but you're probably on the game, you're probably catting off, you're probably still cutting school, you're probably still waiting for mom to make a meal, you're probably still eating last night's rice, you probably still you don't even know how to cook rice in the rice cooker, but on some real stuff. I had some of my younger cousins who were D1 athlete, college football players, at my house and stuff, chilling and everything. And I'm all like, hey, Neff, blood, go put the rice on while I start the fire. Oh, I don't know how to do that. I was like, nigga, hold the fuck up, bro. Hey, fucking rice, water, bro. What are you doing, blood? Nobody taught you this shit, bro. This is supposed to be 3rd grade.
Make sure you put the finger on top of the water,
Yeah, exactly. Come on, blood. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean, I got my 8-year-old knows how to make rice. Yeah. I'm like, so just some of the steps that are lacking, it's learning how to fail and learning how to bounce back. And you got to take those younger years to really hone that shit down. So that way you don't make those same mistakes when you're older, because once you're older, you're in your 30s, you don't have that time to make those type of mistakes to find out what's failing.
And when you have a family, you can't afford to make those type of mistakes.
Exactly.
If people are depending on you to put food on the table and pay for the rent, you can't afford to mess up.
Hell no, you can't.
That's why you got to be able to mess up and learn on your own. So that way you don't have to go through the same mistakes, because when it's different when people don't depend on you. If you mess up, it's on you.
Yeah,
the only people that suffer is you. But if you have a whole family and a wife at home and you suffer and you mess up, they're gonna deal with the consequences from your actions. Yeah. So, all right, man. I'll pass it to you, T. What do you think, T? Do you think a Polynesian men should stay at home their entire life until they get married?
Yes, and then extend the house and bring if natural. I think it for me. It depends on the situation. If you're by yourself and you want to be able to take a first glance at how it is to experience life in your face, you should absolutely get out, right? And if you're one of those guys who's all talking about, it's tough, and if you don't even know what a down payment is,
What,
don't
deposit?
talk, right? Or a deposit, you shouldn't even go back to your Call of Duty, right? I think you should step, like, exactly to your point. You should step out and be able to experience. My situation is a bit different because we have somebody who has a very severe case of cerebral palsy.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
And aside from being able to be, complacent and just not be around, the person also happens to be such a blessing to our family, right? To be able to make it at 18. So it's like a everyday motivation for us. The person that's not as fortunate to be able to do a lot of stuff is be like, she can't do that. What the fuck is my excuse? You know what I'm saying? Like to be able to have a deposit put down for an apartment.
Yeah.
Right. Pay your own car notes. Right. And I've had to deal with the responsibility of having to fix a lot of the issues when I ran into issues myself. So if you're trying to have a better way of experience life because of many variables, you don't want to be in the house, you want to do your own thing. And I think Will has a great story for that too, of how he wanted to be able to take a different route as far as work, as far as what he wanted to push for. Got his own place, living by himself, and be able to build on that. I think you should absolutely be able to leave your house. Unfortunately for me, I have girls. You motherfuckers ain't going nowhere. You're gonna
Yeah.
stay with me until I see somebody who is
Worthy.
Yeah,
worthy
right
of the TJ's blessings.
If you a top G like that, where you can able to take care of a woman,
Tapos.
right? Tapos. Now it's a common thing. Daddy's girls, right? But for the boys, I don't know. I don't see a lot of boys nowadays. So the only thing in my face is like my eyes is like girls.
But we just talked about complacency, right? The lack of desire. I think that's why it's why young boys need to go out to the world. There's no better way for you to find out desire and hunger is go to the real world, get hit in the face, and you have to
Exactly.
And you have to figure out how to eat. You have to figure out where to sleep. That hunger, you will get that hunger and the desire real quick. It's gonna reality will hit you real quick.
Yeah, you'll be very thankful even if you pay $300 a month and you have some space on the floor just to lie down.
Facts.
You'll be very, very grateful when that comes. And once you get to a spot where you'll be able to have a nice place, like a 1-bedroom, and then you start inviting some pum pum over, changes your whole mind too.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do this in the comfort of my own home. Jeez, let's get it.
Multiple pum pum, you know.
And they'll be able
Rotation roster.
and they don't motivate
Back to the
you.
bench.
And no disrespect to the female in the room, but it's really like for the guys, is as soon as they get those couple dates in, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's on.
Yeah.
Right, and then you just go buck wild for just make sure you wear some condoms.
No, because
But,
I know for a lot of young boys, they're afraid to ask women out because of the rejection. But the thing is, when life hits you in the face and you've been rejected, and you're not gonna care about rejection from a woman when you started from the bottom and you grinded your way up. The last thing you're gonna care about is some girl rejecting you. But you can't learn that unless you go and experience it in real life. Because sometimes I talk to the younger boys, oh man, I don't want to ask her out because what if I get rejected? Bro, I'm telling you, when you have to eat and you sleep on the floor and then you live in your car and then you save up money just to get some peanut butter jelly, when you go through life's hardest obstacle and you overcome it, you're not gonna care about a girl rejecting you because you've gone through worse.
Yeah,
and I think every man has to go through that journey. But
and that's the beauty about being out for yourself. There's one thing that we covered of how to be able to better your communication skills. You going out by yourself and dealing with the world just by yourself will absolutely give you a very, very good experience on how to deal with communication skills. Right? Talk to just like not being weird going out to people. You could just go talk to a girl regularly and then she'll be able to pick out like certain aspects of you that she likes. And just because you're being a normal dude, not being a soy, whatever they call
And
it.
you have your own place, right? What's better? Come to my place or come to my parents' house?
Hey, my roommates are sleeping. Calm down.
my roommates.
My roommates. You know what I'm saying?
I to piggyback off of everybody, I think there's some good input in here, but I think for both men and women, it's actually really important in our community to, get out. After a certain age, you're gonna have to disconnect yourself from your parents and disconnect yourself from your family because you have to find who you are. And it's not in your family and it's not in your community and it's not in your culture. That's a journey you have to take on your own.
Yeah.
And if you do not find that, you are going to find yourself at an older age with a mental health problem.
Yeah.
And that's just the stats. That's why I said 65% of people in the US have issues with mental health and they don't actually know it. Well, there's a huge reason to that being, folks, even if, and there, I know folks that are well, they can definitely be on their own, but they just stay with their parents, and
Wait, say that again.
like they can live on their own, but they just choose to stay with their parents.
Well, I think the only reason that would justify that is if, like you said, if maybe your parents have some kind of disease and you just stay home and take care of them or something like that.
Mhm.
But if you have the capacity to go live on your own, but I don't know, I don't think, I think there has to be something within you that stops you from either fear or,
I mean,
every
situation is different. Like when my father passed away, he was living with me, but it's not like I was living with my dad. I already had a family, I already had my girl, I already had my three
that's
kids.
different. That's different. Yeah.
But Pops wanted to be around the grandkids and
you're not living with him. He's living with you. That's
exactly.
That's different.
That's different.
All right.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
like you're living with your parents.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like this.
Oh.
There's like this connect where you can't separate yourself, and that goes for men and women. And it's not that I'm not about family. It's not that I'm not about our community, our culture. I am just about people, individuals finding who they actually are and being the best selves that they can be. Because our society, just in general, outside of just being Polynesian, outside of being our culture, and just being human beings, we can't progress unless we know how to disconnect.
Can I ask you a question? I mean, because we're talking about, how it's important for men to go out there and experience the road to growth from a boy to become a man. That's why I guess I believe at 18 Polynesian boys, you need to go out there and experience the world, right? 18. But I know a lot of Polynesians may watch this like, oh, that's fear balang, this fear balang. But no, I think it's important for a man. The only way you can learn how to be a strong protector, provider, producer is to go out there and experience it for yourself and not rely on somebody else to do that for you. But have you because you're a woman, have you seen Polynesian men that's still living with their parents? And what's your experience with those types of men? Are those men, like the father's qualities, are those guys have strong disciplines, strong sense of responsibility and duty? Or maybe it's different. I'm just asking from your experience being a woman and seeing guys, the difference between guys who go out into the real world and figure things on their own and stand on 2 feet, compared to guys that live with their parents their whole entire life and choose to live with their parents, even though they have the capacity to go outside, but they choose to live with their parents until they get married, or maybe they're still not married.
I can only say from observation, not necessarily experience. I can say that it is what it is. I mean, I don't really pry into people's businesses of that sense, but all I can say is if you're happy, that's fine. As far as like me knowing their dating life and stuff, I wouldn't know that.
Oh, okay. No.
I
All right, she wouldn't know that because she's not attracted to it.
Oh,
right. Would you even consider that?
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day,
all right, now stop being politically correct and say the real thing. Don't be politically correct. Say the real answer now.
I never have.
There you go. Yeah. So get the fuck out the house.
Yeah.
Go figure it out.
I think. Would it be safe to say you?
But I know people that do.
Yeah.
And that's,
like you notice a man a lot more if he's living in his purpose and he's self-reliant, he's doing his own thing, he got his own place, responsible, than a man just still living with his parents, right? You wouldn't notice the guy living with his parents, but you would notice the guy actually going out there and making things happen. Huh?
So I pick up on cues. Like I pick up on cues of like if there's something mentally distraught with somebody or something like
So I think it's about the connection for sure. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm just going to speak in general
Yeah.
because I don't have that experience.
No, it's okay.
Definitely
That's
asking the
fine.
wrong person. But I don't know. The truth is like, there's a high percentage of women that don't mind it. So
Yeah.
The truth is you can get a girlfriend and be at home. Okay. But she
She
won't
gonna
stay
be a
with
baddie.
you. But she
you know what
probably
I mean?
won't stay with you.
Yeah.
And she'll probably
Facts.
leave you because she'll be unsure of if you're mentally okay or not.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, the lack of being a provider is already obvious too in
Yeah.
that situation.
Yeah.
And keep it real, like a baddie ain't gonna get wet if you stay in with your mom and dad.
Yeah,
Like-
that's facts. That's true. That's fair. T, you want to say something?
Oh, I think you should definitely get your ass out and
Yeah.
right because this ain't it. This ain't the islands or this is not Fiapalangi. If you're saying Fiapalangi, then maybe that's because you want your kids to come back and pay for all your stuff. Right?
mean-
which is because my experience is that me and my brothers handled the responsibility of being able to provide the house, bills, right, and at the same time care for this person. Or, it's unfortunate, but the reality doesn't stop just because the person has an illness.
Yeah.
So we still had to provide a lot of these stuff. We're talking about down payments and all that's people who want to talk about down payments. If you don't know that, keep listening. But it's a different type of situation. But if you have the capacity that you be able to do it yourself, you absolutely should. So that way, if whatever later on down in life, you'll be able to provide not just for yourself, but if circumstances just the tables turn and unfortunately maybe your parents fall in a position where they got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And now you've had enough know-how to be able to deal with, okay, they're coming. How am I gonna portion out what I need to do to take care of myself and my parents? Right.
Yeah.
A lot of understanding and a lot of experience goes behind that. But the benefits are nice.
Yeah. But also, I know you brought up that you, in your belief that, in your opinion, that men and women should both leave, right? Yeah, I don't have a problem with women going out there and experiencing it for themselves. The only reason why I put more emphasis on the men, that it's a must, because for women, you have the option of meeting a man that will take care of you. That is the option available for you. That is not an option that's available for us as men. Nobody is going to take care of me. Okay, nobody's going to take care of, especially no woman is going to come and take care of a grown ass man, right? So that's why, the thing for a woman is, if she wants to stay at home with her parents until she gets married, that's an option. That's fine. If she wants to go experience the law for herself and get a different perspective, find out who she is and self-develop and improve, that's also fine as well. But I think just from that perspective, you guys have that option, that luxury. But as far as guys, there's no one who's going to provide, produce, and protect me, especially no woman wants to do that for the rest of her life and protect, provide, produce for me. That's my role and responsibility as a man, as a father, and as a role model for my kids. So that's why I put that. That's why I'm heavily emphasizing that on men to 18, go out there to the world and figure out yourself, who you are as a man, what your values, what are your principles, what are you standing up for, what's the meaning of your life, what's your purpose, and how are you going to perform at the highest level when it comes to fulfilling your responsibilities, especially when it comes to providing, protecting, and producing for your wife and children.
And I think to piggyback off of that, I think that there are women that will do that, right? They'll go after, men and that situation. But then the men will no longer want her because of it. It's kind of weird.
Wait, say that again?
It's weird. Okay, so
A
because-
providing woman.
yeah,
You're saying
they'll
a
no
providing
longer want
woman
her,
and
a providing woman, after a while, because it's just, I don't know.
Oh, so you're saying
All right.
there's women out there that would
Yeah,
she
that will
wants to
provide.
protect and provide.
Yeah, provide, but then after a while, he won't want her
No,
anymore.
I think that would only be temporary.
Yeah.
It's only temporary.
Yeah, it's only
I want
temporary.
to say that might be
temporary.
it's temporary,
Yeah,
but I
temporary.
also want to say it's the biology fucking up with the women because now she's already thrown into her masculine,
Yeah.
and she can't look at this man as a real man.
A real
She's
man.
probably
Well,
gonna be talking.
She
she'd
no
probably
longer
talk shit to
respects
him.
him.
Disrespect him.
Motherfucker, you take the fucking trash out. You know what I mean?
Remember,
That-
Will, I
that-
told you about
Yeah.
that? I
Yeah.
told you about men and women. Okay, so women, we have the ability, Like women, we can love somebody and not respect them, and respect somebody and not love them. Men, you guys cannot do that. You guys think they're like two separate things.
I disagree. I think as women.
Wait, what was that
I-
again?
I-
You can't what?
Yeah.
No,
So-
I think as women you can love somebody, but not respect them.
Yes.
But
Respect them and not love them.
no, I think as a woman, once you respect a man, naturally what comes after is love. Every woman you respect, you will naturally love them. Right?
I can argue
Or have some sort of
I'm not
love
gonna argue
for them.
with
There'll
that,
be
but-
love for them.
When you have respect for a man that's handling his responsibility and being a good man for you, you will always naturally love that man after respect. But you cannot love a man that you do not respect.
There are a lot of females that don't have
I hit those
active-
bars.
Oh.
That was a bomb.
Girls that don't have like that have dads that weren't really active, but they still love their father.
That's a different. That's
You
their
know,
dad. You only have one dad.
Well, yes, right, but he's still a man, and so in some senses, right. I guess what I'm trying to say is, in relationships, what happens is because the man doesn't feel respected, and she may really love him, she just doesn't respect him anymore. So she doesn't implement that action towards him. So therefore, he just doesn't feel respected. When he doesn't feel respected, that whole relationship is over.
For both sides. You know, if the man doesn't feel respected, he's gonna leave, and if the woman doesn't respect him, he's gonna leave. Right. So
No, if he doesn't feel respected, he'll cheat first and then maybe leave.
I don't know. Nah, I don't know about all that. Cause like, yeah, I understand that like women are the gatekeepers. It's easier for them to go cheat when we got to come out here and pick a lock and really like finesse somebody,
Yeah.
you know? And then like say that, I don't know, it's got a lot of men will go through the risk and reward situation before they go out there and step out on something like that. Is that 10 minutes of risk worth, or 10 minutes of reward worth risking someone that you already built something with? Yeah. And I don't know, like I keep it real, sis. I lightweight disagree with you because it's the women that will like instantly lose respect for a man, and men are very direct. Like, no, we don't talk about our feelings, but we will absolutely tell you how I need to be treated. Yo, check this out. Like, I'm taking care of you. I need this and that. I need a little more love. I need a little more affection. I need a little respect in the house. All right. So I just need you to appreciate my wishes. And then a woman's response will be like, oh, that's what you need? Nah, well, now you're getting disrespected. You saying I don't respect you?
I'm curious to see what you think. Do you think when men get disrespected, do they get cheated on the most, or if the man feels, if I feel disrespected from you, do you think I'm going to cheat on you first, or are you going to go out and do it?
Well, no, I'm talking in terms of what Will was saying, like as in like when a man isn't providing and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
A woman will automatically and unconsciously not stop respecting him.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about when he is doing that. I'm talking about when he's not doing that. And this is just from observation because I don't yet. So that's what happens. And as far as the cheating goes or whatnot, I think it's a little bit more than that. Like she could just start talking shit to you, like saying really bad words, right? And really verbal abuse towards men is more hurtful than anything. And I don't really, there's just stats and research on that. Where it diminishes like their idea of who they are, especially when they're in an intimate relationship with a woman. So it's not, I'm talking about the beginning stages of disrespect. Like when women start disrespecting a man as in verbal abuse, that's the beginning stages. Then he starts like not understanding what's going on. And that's the beginning of it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, we can dive into it, but
yeah. But then again, if she starts disrespecting him, why the hell does she have to deal with him if she's, if the guy is still with the parents?
If a girl starts disrespecting you, that means you haven't put in the work to you're not in your masculine to make sure that she respects you. Because if you fulfill your duties as a man, if you love your man, a woman, if you provide for her, you protect her, you make her feel safe. Because I think use Polyfista's words, women just want absolute safety. Emotionally, financially, physically, psychologically, spiritually. If you provide that space for her, they will, and you're consistent with your actions, and she trusts you, she's gonna respect you. But the moment we fail but that all comes down to producing, protecting, and providing, right?
Mhm.
So we're all doing that in the forms of emotions, finances, physicalness, sexual, spiritual. But when we lack those qualities and able to produce those results, and that's when women's like, man, this guy, I don't feel safe with this guy. And then when you don't feel safe with the guy and it just becomes inconsistent, then you start losing trust in his ability to perform
Correct.
and be a leader. And then when you don't trust somebody, I mean, you can't look to him as a leader, you look down on him, and you start to disrespect him.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm speaking on. And
Yeah.
that's why I say that it's important for women to, disassociate themselves from their family and start finding themselves, because you can't truly know what you want until you know who you are.
Mm.
And until you know who you are, you don't
I
know
see
who
what
you
you mean.
want and what works for you.
And I would argue a man that's getting disrespected by a woman, that's a dangerous man.
Straight up.
He's desperate, right? Because if you're a man, you're gonna if you get disrespected as a man, you have that natural primal instinct. I'm not gonna get disrespected. I'm gonna fight. I'm not saying physically fight, but I'm not gonna deal with the situation. I'm gonna leave the situation and find a better situation. But if you stay in a situation and get verbally abused as a man, eventually you're gonna hit a desperate point, and that I don't know what's gonna happen, but you're gonna explode,
Yeah.
whether through her or through somebody else. But men who stay in situations that constantly get disrespected, not taking accountability to improve, to figure out, okay, I'm getting disrespected by this woman. Obviously, there's a problem in our relationship, and of course, that's gonna pertain to my ability to be a man. I need to step the fuck up right now and be a man. If you don't have the balls to do that, then these guys get emasculated, and eventually you're gonna get to a point, man, you just get that real desperate, and you're gonna do something that's gonna either hurt you, or you're gonna hurt the person that you're partnered with. So
I mean, obviously, like for men, you're supposed to be able to hold your own, so that way that doesn't come out to you look like a bitch.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, if you like, for me, what I see, like, the man is doing everything that he can. Some of you women are just buck wild as shit. Big mouth, saying all kind of shit. No disrespect, right? But that's because that's what they're raised on. That who's raising them to be that way. In that case, I say to the man, just walk out of that bitch's life.
Yeah.
You don't need to stay there. But it's not always the case of like the man being emasculated because of his stance. Obviously, my stance is always to make sure in your masculinity you are super strong to the point where your woman is looking at you. You're almost like God, like.
Yeah.
Right. You like she's not even gonna question you, right? But if it comes to that point, like some of you women need to chill, yo. Like, for real. And then you want to test the waters, and then the man is like, "What the fuck did you say?"
we just had a whole dating segment on our podcast tonight.
and I want to say that women don't really understand the whip of their words too, because like they'll be able to vet you for so long that they know your weak points.
Yeah.
And they'll keep that down. They'll hold you down and they'll be cool with you. But the second that they start, feeling a little disrespectful or feeling a little jumpy, they gonna bust that shit out you. Oh, you a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, like fucking your whole family wrote you off. What the fuck makes you think like this is gonna be any different? Like, goddamn. And then there'll be some shit that they gonna say that can't be retracted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We just had a whole conversation about that last night about being vulnerable to women. But check out that last night's episode. But I want to move on to the next topic. That was actually a great discussion, and we just had a little dating segment on the pod. But we got more hot topics. Oh, I see Rose, Savage, all you guys in the live chat.
They're going nuts in there.
And Mata Ofa.
That's
Hey,
all we have to talk about.
hey, Mata Ofa. Hey, you said I saw one of your comments, Mata Ofa. You said that one of the best segments you've seen on the pod. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate love and support. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I only see 3 likes. Come on, I know there's 12 people on here. Right? I know Salote is one of them. Shout out to Salote. Thank you for your like. I know T is one of them. so that leaves one person, and there's 12 people here that hasn't liked the channel. So like, subscribe, hold the algorithm.
Oh, Jordan Juicy Jackson, where the fuck you
All
at?
right, support the channel. All right, but let's move on to we got another hot topic to discuss. I know this is something that you wanted to talk about, and we talked about it before, and we got to cover at least 3 more. I know you talked about Polytime. All right, something that's
but it don't exist in the rest of the world, but it exists in the Polynesian culture. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's toxic. It's one of those things that like we lean on as a crutch and a handicap. Like we'll laugh it off, like, oh, it's all good, Polytime, right? Nah, bud, hell no. My time's important too, bro. You know, but I don't know. Like to me, it's the sense of urgency thing. You know, there's no will and no want to even be there to get shit done, and it also turns into a disrespect. Now you can't show up. It shows that you don't respect another man's time. You know what I mean, or somebody else's time that they're trying to provide for you. You know, like for example, I'm in a football program, and I take care of the babies, dude. I take care of the 8-year-old kids, and I love taking care of the 8-year-old kids. I don't want to talk to the 10, 12, or 14-year-old kids because them niggas talk back, man. Them motherfuckers, they got roast sessions and stuff. They be on the game, so they got ammunition. I ain't ready for all that. You know what I mean? I'm inside. So when I say like I know that I rock with the 8-year-old kids. I know these 8-year-old kids ain't riding their bike to practice. I know these 8-year-old kids ain't coming to practice on their own. They got to rely on mom and dad. Now it takes 11 positions to do one job, and I need a minimum of 15 just to even strap kids up so we can have a real game. And then I got people that will skip out practice all week but make it to a game that's 2 hours away and then be like, hey, yo, what the hell? Like, you gonna play my son, right? What? Bro, no.
Right,
like that's like
right.
a sense of entitlement. Or like I'll have somebody that comes to practice at like 6:30 and then send me a text message at like 6:25. Hey, we're on our way. We got stuck in traffic. No, you didn't. You ain't not get stuck in traffic, but you around the corner, you barely left the house type shit. Like, you know, and I know exactly. I ended up being able to decode some of these like bullshit ass text messages right around the corner. Nigga just left.
You know
the
what
house.
right around the corner means?
No, just left the house.
Yeah,
Okay.
They just left the house.
Okay.
I've done that before.
Yeah, straight up.
I won't lie.
Right
I'm gonna be
around
accountable.
the corner.
I'm gonna be accountable. I'll be accountable.
Like,
I've done that before.
Yeah, but it's something that we get labeled with, and it's something that we ended up like holding the burden of, and it's one of the things that we never correct down the line, you know. And we hand that shit off to our next generation. Now our next generation, they're cursed with that shit where they're not going to show up on time. They don't hold themselves accountable. There's no urgency in their system. So, like, what's going to go on after that? You want to talk about the decline of some culture? That's like that will be one of the bases of the decline of the culture, because now us knowing about the Polytime and then now it being on a podcast and being completely public and everything, now everybody knows about that shit. Shit's out the bag. I mean, everybody already knew about it in the beginning, but now if they see 4 U's, 3 T's, and a couple V's in your name, they'll be like, man, I don't even want to fucking deal with this guy. I bet you he don't show up.
Late.
Yeah, nigga late.
Like,
I straight up. So
I hate it when people when I ask people why are you late, and they use Polytime like that's a justifiable reason. It's Polytime. The fuck?
yeah, I'm early.
right. Like, yeah,
You're late.
just say why you're gonna be late. You know, you could say
That's that pride. Don't want to get caught up with a lie too.
the 3 hour late, right? That was Polytime. What the?
Yeah.
My issue with the Polytime, and I've discussed this with Jordan. It's the we're conditioning negative habits that doesn't help them when they go to the professional setting, right? So the thing is, people, Polynesians, especially the young Polynesians, they get so accustomed to a Polytime, so they don't value being on time, being punctuality, right? And then when they go in the real world, when they finally grow the fuck up and they go in the real world and how to get a job or go for a job interview, these guys who still all women, because we're both go through the Polytime, they're still late. Because I used to before I did podcasting, I was a sales manager in San Jose for an energy company. So sometimes I would try to hire Pacific Islanders, and there were literally, I promise you, there were every single one was late, but one, right? But one late. And the sad thing is because they knew I was Pacific Islander, so they thought that I would understand being late. Because you understand, right?
Yeah.
Polytime, right? Which blew my mind, right? I was like, this is a job interview. This is going to determine whether I hire you or not, right? Polytime, you do understand there's other candidates.
Then they look distraught when you tell
they
them,
look
what
like
the-
I'm
you
talking
talking about?
some
Right.
foreign language to them, like trying to explain something that's they've never thought about before. So it doesn't like that's my issue with Polytime. Like you said, it does not exist. It's either you're on time or you're not, right? And the thing is, when you go in the real world, you have to be on time. There are things called deadlines, the things that you have to submit, depending on what your job is. There's nothing after the deadline. So I just think that it doesn't produce good, strong habits, especially when it comes to the workplace and going to the real world. Because the real world, you have to be on time. There's deadlines you have to fulfill. There's commitments you have to fulfill. And also, when you deal with a certain caliber of people, especially people very successful, people who are successful, they value their time. So I take it as a form of disrespect when I plan something with someone and you tell me I'm going to be on time. So that's a commitment that you made to me, and you don't follow through unless there's somebody died in your family, or maybe somebody, you crashed your plane, you weren't able to get on your flight, the pilot did, like some crazy reason. But for me, it's like, for being late, that's just, for me, is that you don't value my time. Because if you really value my time, then you would show up. Because when I make commitments to somebody, and I tell somebody I want to be there at 2:00, I value their time because I know they're going to be there. So I'm gonna then make sure I'm gonna be on time because I value your time, and hopefully you value mine. We both on time. But it's really depending on the people you're gonna meet, especially when you go to a higher level. People really care about their time, and if you have this habit of always being late and never making things on time, then people are honestly gonna have that reputation of, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You don't care about my time. You live in your own world. You don't even think about me. So you gotta have that mentality, man. That's why I don't like Polytime, because it's that behavior doesn't produce good. It's not healthy. It doesn't give you any advantages, especially when you go to the real world.
Yeah. And if I could just say something about that too, like if I knew that another Polynesian was holding an event just specifically for me or something like that, where I needed to professionally be available for blood, I would make sure I'm early, because I know that that's a poly that's putting his name out for another poly.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I come out here and prove this the stereotype correct, it's just going to justify my own people to close the door for the next opportunity.
And you make
him
look
Polynesian.
bad. You make him look bad.
I make him look bad. I drag his name down. He's not going to want to, or his person and his peers aren't going to want to deal with other Polynesians because he already knows. Yeah. And then now you don't end up looking for the favor, and that's when it goes out. Like, I feel like in the Polynesian community and stuff, there's a divide between a handoff and a handout. Yeah. You know, are you going to prepare yourself to get the handoff, or are you sitting there waiting on your ass to get the handout? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and part of that shit is being on time, respecting another man's time, coming out there and being committed, communicating, even if you are going to be tardy or something like that. Yeah, like
that goes a long way.
Exactly. And
that lets me know you care because you're communicating to me.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, so being more attentive to that type of shit, that it might be Palangi or whatever, like how our culture may look at it, but no, it's only our culture that looks at it like that.
No, it's called the real world. It's called being an adult.
Exactly.
Yeah, you should be on time, which sorry I was late today, but you know.
No, you Polytime on time.
You know, I mean, I literally work down the street, so I kind of have to like venture myself here, which is, I mean, because I get off at 5, but then sometimes I have to have my management team and all that other stuff.
So this conversation hit you?
No. I mean,
triggered.
I know. I get it, because I think being on time is a real deal. It's a real thing, and I think you should really be on time.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
The crazy thing is some Palangi dude came and made this up, and we actually made it like a thing.
A thing.
All right?
Yeah.
If you look at Alec time, like if you go on vacation, everything is like always available. Whether it's a salad bar, go get some coffee, I could just chill on the beach. Right? And some dude just walking by, island time. I'm gonna go tell my dad.
Right.
You know what boils my blood is they'll be late for me for Pacific Islanders, but when they go to a non-Pacific Islander, they'll be on time, which is crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what's crazy, and that's what's disrespectful.
Never late for a flight.
So when it's for Palangis, for a different culture of a different race, you're on time. But what's wrong? Our community for all
the niggas is early.
Early.
You know what I'm saying?
Early. 10, 20, 30 minutes early. But when it's for our people, you're going to be 2-3 hours late.
Yeah, he'll understand. It's good.
Yeah, it's Polytime.
It's all good. For sure, man. Uso running my shit, man.
Crazy.
Cool. I'm going to come in there and win this shit. Like, what's up, Us? Like, nah, bro.
I think women have the most island time. All women do. I don't know why it takes you guys so long. All women.
All right, yeah. Okay, I agree with that.
It's contagious. I don't know why you guys take so long to get ready. And don't give me some excuse of be like, you guys live in the
That's
most.
why you gotta tell them the fake time. So if you're planning the day for 3, tell her it's at 1. So she'll be ready by 3.
Oh
like,
There it is.
You gotta think like that, bro.
right.
All right, it's on your toes right there, boy.
Right.
That's how you do it.
You know what I mean?
Because I caught myself in that too. We had a event at the event center,
Oh,
right? And somebody woke me up. Yo, it's time to go. It's at 11 o'clock. My ass woke up. It's like, how many more minutes left before 11
That
o'clock?
part.
But who asked something like that? Get your ass up and go to the event.
and it'd be like this.
All right. So yeah, that's our segment for Polytime. All right. Polytime does not exist, y'all. We gotta stop that Polytime. All right. This is I want to talk about this topic. Polys marrying white girls.
Hey, what?
Hey, so so let's bring out that topic because obviously I've seen it on social media. A lot of girls, whenever they see a good-looking Pacific Islander brother get taken up by a white girl, a lot of Pacific Islander women get upset, right? That the good-looking guys or the potential good quality bachelors, they get snatched up by the white woman. So
She had pretty feet, bro.
so if you go, I mean, you go on social media. I've seen it. You know, if you go to Poly Twitter, I've seen it on the comments. I've seen these girls just a lot of the things they say. Oh, these guys just have a colonizer mindset. You know, that's colonized to disregard the beauty of our girls, and that's why he went with the white girl. So I mean, it's an interesting conversation. I mean, the thing for me is like, you know, attraction is attraction, regardless of who it is and where you come from, like whatever you're gonna be attracted to. But yeah, let's have that conversation. You know, is that something that's toxic or that we need to change, or that's just something that's a natural? Especially the biggest complaint for a lot of Pacific Islander women is the successful Pacific Islander men. Whenever Pacific Islander men taste some level of success, they always fall for get married to a white girl. How come every single time they reach a level of success, they always marry white women, but they don't marry their own? So, but let's have that convo. I want to have that convo. You know, I know Jordan, you married a white woman, so what's your thoughts on that topic?
Well, I inherited that shit from my dad. My dad, I'm also half Polynesian too, so it's something that I grew up with, something that I was raised with, and honestly, like I bounced around a lot in my family life. I was the Ulavale kid. I was the one who ended up living with my uncles, living with my cousins, living with my grandma, and I got bounced around a lot where I ended up going to like 6 different high schools before my junior year, ended up getting sent out to Job Corps. But I was able to sort of diverse the differences between the cultures and the way we operate as a family. Like the Polynesian family, we definitely operate very big in the faith. We're very big on discipline. And then on the white side, they were very big on accountability and impressions. You know what I'm saying? Like on how you. There was a saying on the white side of my family is they treat you the way they see you, and that shit kind of hit hard for me because as a youngster I was the darkest one on my white side of the family, so I thought that like, okay, they treat me the way they see me, but at the same time when I was on my poly side of the family, when I was being bad, like if I ever had an issue or anything, they'd bust it down, and they'd bust it down harshly. You know, so I was sort of getting the negative of both worlds, but I wanted the best for my next lineage too. And then my dad kind of busted that shit down to me too, like where he told me straight up when I was going through like my high school dating eras and stuff like that. And he sort of told me like, yo, like, look at your mom. Like she's white blood. Like we wanted to have a lighter kid so we could have, you know, more opportunity in our family too. Like it is what it is. Like it's a social structure thing.
Yeah.
And it was something that you could be judged off of. And if you had a white girl and stuff and like she was kind of a baddie and everything, like you'll get looked at as in a higher light. So I sort of did want the status, but at the same time, like I didn't have status when I found my white girl, you know, it kind of just happened. And I got 3 kids from her. Like she's a hella good ass mom. She's hella cool. I got her cultured up and everything. Like she had to go through my first cousin Nora's boot camp. Shout out Nora, you know. But like, you know, I kicked her in with my cousin and everything. Be like, yo, like lace her up real quick. You know what I'm saying? Make her do what you do type shit. And like she does the fayals around the house. Like she know how to hold it down. Like she knows how to jump into conversations with all of my female Polynesian families and everything. So she holds it down very well. And the way I also see it too is that I remember when like the white men were dating some of the bigger girls in our family and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like we used to put our arms around them and stuff and be like, oh yeah, that's honorary Oos right there. You know, we got love for Bloody. Like he's cool. Like he's one of us type shit. It's I want to say in this newer, more recent generation that is becoming more acceptable. And like you're not gonna find too many full-blooded Polynesians anyways, because like you afraid that they might be related. I remember I had a high school girlfriend that was she was Polynesian and she was like a softball player, and she went to the softball tournament, and then Blood, like her brothers and her family was hitting me up when she was at a softball tournament, going like, "Yo, you got fails at the house, man. You need to help me clean this backyard and da da da." Yeah. I was like 16. I was like, "Nigga, I'm like dating your sister, bro. I ain't fucking with you. Yeah. Are you like for real? Like I got fails at your house?"
And in that moment, he decided.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
I was like, yeah, because like I ended up knowing straight up right there, like if this is the hole that I'm gonna dive into, then I'm not just taking on her, I'm taking on her whole family. Yeah. And I'm half. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of big niggas. I'm cool off that. You know what I mean? I don't want that smoke.
That's reasonable.
That's reasonable.
I mean, that's reasonable.
I mean, honestly.
I mean, marrying into a Pacific Islander, you know, we all know this is a lot, you know, the responsibility to.
Yeah.
Say it with your chest. No, I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, I've heard it. I mean, I had these conversations with a lot of Pacific Islander guys that are dating or married white women. You know, that always comes up. That we don't want to marry. They're just tired of the feaos and the fatonias and all the islander functions and sending money back home. You know, they just want to focus on their family and then focus. But obviously, be married to a very cultured girl that grew up within the culture. There's a lot of family obligations that you have to fulfill, and some guys just don't want to deal with that, which is reasonable. Which is reasonable to me. But I know a lot of poly girls or people might criticize, "Oh, you're just fake," or you're not a true islander, because a true islander man will step up and handle those obligations for the family. But no, I mean, do you have have you seen that conversation within the social groups of girls? When they see a Pacific Islander guy get married, date or marry a white girl that they probably would have wanted to date, and what was like the feedback from those girls?
Okay, so you're asking about my observation about
just observation from girl talk,
It depends on which poly girl you talk to. There are poly women who like poly men, and there are poly women who do not prefer them. Yeah. So if you're talking to poly women who do not prefer poly men, they don't care. Yeah. But if you talk to poly women,
I think the majority,
they usually dabble in the dark, right?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really about your preference.
Hit that bar.
There are poly women that do like poly men, and they care.
I think majority. I think I would say majority of Pacific Islander women prefer a Pacific Islander man, but like I said, there are exceptions. I know girls that only want to date white guys. I think majority of women want to date Islander men.
Poly women. I was gonna say poly women prefer the size of that D, but nah.
I'm dead.
Have you ever dated a Polynesian dude?
I can say I'm not gonna talk about none of my stuff.
That's your observation, though.
Through observation, I would say, I do know that just the research and stuff, like you're always going to be attracted to somebody that looks like similar to you.
Familiar. What you're familiar with.
That's similar. Like, you're always going to be attracted to like your fourth, third cousin in some sort, because you want to procreate with them. So that's innate.
It's right within us. Yeah.
But outside of just being innate, there's other things that is more important, right? And so if that's more important to you, then that's more important to you. And I don't think that people should judge, especially God, like women, like for the most part, I would say like, okay, so like my mom, she was with my dad and had me, but she's with a white man now, and I think that a lot of it goes both ways. There's judgments on that in our community. And like, I hate saying that there's judgments on the other side of it, because the truth is like you know, why can't we just look at it like, okay, they're a human being, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And instead of like putting a color on it, you know, and
That's true.
the truth is like women, as you just mentioned, like we really do have the options, right? So why are we so fixated?
Yeah.
You know, and so why can't we just congratulate like our brothers
Yeah.
for like finding love?
Yeah.
You know, instead of like actually looking at it in a negative light. Because I think when you start to do that, then you start to build a toxic behavior, and then it implements to like the different generations, and you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Like you can literally just like, and that's why again I piggyback on like women, you know, getting out of their households at like 18 and finding themselves and finding who they are, because essentially that's important. Because when you do, that stuff doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
that stuff doesn't matter.
I got a question. How does a woman find herself when she's 18 through freedoms? Like what does that exactly insist of?
I think it's responsibility. I don't think it's freedoms. I think that it maybe not 18. I don't know how the parenting is. I'm not a parent, so I can't actually say anything according to what parentals, you know, is and are or whatnot, because like, you have daughters, right? And so I'm sure you have a certain way you've raised them. So I can't really judge it, but I do know that to a certain level, like it's important for women to find themselves and find their independency, not necessarily to derail any other type of, you know, whatnot, but just to figure out what they want in life so that they're capable of making choices that are good choices.
All right, I'm asking that question because hunger for a man is gonna build a man. Hunger for a woman that could hurt a woman. Like a woman should never feel hungry, because if their back's against the wall and they don't know where their next meal is, I mean, by instinct, you're gonna have to do what you got to do.
Well,
Like,
I never said hunger. I just said
No,
find themselves.
find themselves,
Yeah,
like be responsible for themselves.
Yeah, like who are you? Like
Well,
what do you like?
No one's gonna save a man. Someone will save an 18-year-old. There'll be multiple people that put their hand out to save an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
There will be people that will save him for a night and forget about him tomorrow. And an 18-year-old girl could be naive enough to think that like this is my caliber of man, and then just get tossed to the side, and then, you know, I'm not gonna let it happen again, but still get played because now you out in the real world trying to be responsible for yourself, and like you got niggas out here lurking, and they want to see something young and tender, and they've had so many failure rates already that they know the game, and like it's easier to speak to an 18 or 21-year-old than it is to speak to someone who's already like gone through some shit and had to make some like real decisions and is a little bit more guarded.
So you're talking about safety. That's real.
I mean,
I can see your point.
Yeah,
I can see your point.
that's real.
I think sometimes when, you know, I think, I guess the best way I would explain it is, you know, if you go to the real world, it's going to harden you. But a man that goes through hardship and he gets hardened by the real world and learns how to deal with it, I think that works in our favor.
yeah.
But a woman that gets hardened by the realities of the real world, that can hurt her. Because the very things that we look for is not hardness in a woman. We just want a soft, feminine, caring, loving mother. So if a woman's too hard because she's had so much real life experience or so many bad things happen to her, that can be really, really hard for us to connect with her.
I mean, you will connect. At some point, it's going to
Physically.
come naturally, but
Yeah.
it's going to take a while.
Right.
It's going to take, as far as from what I've seen, it takes a while.
All right. So I had a question for Jordan, but it might be that type of question that, you know, I trigger a lot of people on this on the live chat. But the question that a lot of girls have, a lot of poly girls would ask, you're with a white girl, but I've heard this conversation on Twitter. You know, what does a white woman do that poly girls won't do? And that's probably why he picked her.
All right. I mean, I hate to say it this way, but
Oh, this is good.
oh shit. I mean, shit. Like my girl goes to the gym. She'll wake up, give me poom poom in the morning, and I could go to the night and smack her on the ass, and she give me poom poom at night too. Like physically, she take care of me, and emotionally, she definitely take care of me. And there's a lot of times when like we're every other couple where we have our arguments and disagreements, but usually for the majority, if I say like, yo, this is what it is, and that's just how it goes, she'll back down and be like, all right, that's what it is. But like, motherfucker, you better not fail. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a lot less combative. That's my thing too. It's less combative. Like I got female cousins and stuff, and I've dated in the female community when I was like going through high school, but like a kiss on the cheek ain't the same as a fucking punch in the chest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you sitting there standing next to him and shit, and like, you fucking, like, nigga, what the fuck? Like, you fucking keep hitting me. Like, I'll fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not even like that, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's the show of affection. It's the show of affection that, like you said, like, I want something soft. I want something that, like, you know, is a nurturer.
Yeah. And
I don't want to have to fuck, like,
I don't have to
I don't want to kick it with the dudes at the house.
I don't have to beat you up to show my love.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Man. And then like, yeah, they definitely get testy when they feel disrespected too. Like the Polynesian women, like when my girl feels disrespected, she'll just put me on the silent treatment, whatever. I'll go to the gym, I can figure it out. I'll blow some steam off in another way, and I'll let her decompress in her own. But I know like when poly women go through their modes, like they can turn the heat up a little bit, and it can.
What has been your experience?
Huh?
What has been your experience in that?
In
dating a poly woman and her getting upset. Have you gotten beaten up?
No, they ain't got beaten up.
Oh, okay.
But like I'm saying, like
No, just a hard punch to the chest.
Oh, okay.
hard punch to the chest, or
Okay.
whatever. But that could be like, and that could be like out of love too. Like, you know, like just fucking around, like fucking, like we could be having a good time and get jabbed and just get jabbed up. You know, like blood, like what the fuck? You know, I need to know when the hell this like what the hell changed. But like, yeah, like that's my thing is like fucking, I don't want something so stern, so hard or anything like that. My girl, she goes to the gym. She keeps herself tight. We have 3 kids. A lot of people can't even tell she got 3 kids. Like, and like as a woman, she's doing everything that she needs to do in order to take care of me. So I feel obligated and responsible to make sure that she's the mother of my child, that she's going to be taken care of just as good or better than my kids too. Because like I've taken the burden and the responsibility to make her my family now.
Right.
And that's just what it is.
I think we talked about that on the other podcast about like just like Polynesians and being in relationships and like, you know, their health deteriorating.
Yeah.
After a while, right? And so that's what I hear from him right now, like Jordan. Like I hear that, you know, your lifestyle right now is better because you support each other in a way that's like healthy, right?
Yeah.
And it's long lasting and there's longevity in it, right? And you know, the lady that was with us, that was talking with us, she was also Polynesian, but I think her husband was white. And the older lady, Heta, yeah.
Yeah.
And like they were like
they work out
working out.
together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that's a real thing.
Yeah, exactly. They work out
I don't
together.
think there's
But how many examples do you see Pacific Island couples working out together at that age?
well, like Heta, like my mom and her partner now, you know, yeah, he's white. He's a big white guy. He's tall, but like he works out, he lifts, and she does Zumba. And like this is like this thing, like they don't work out necessarily together because like they're just old.
This is the lifestyle.
Right, but it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so it seems like the lifestyle is what I hear. Do you hear that? Because I think I hear that.
Yeah.
You know?
And keep it real, like to my white girl too, I know I'm forbidden fruit. I turn her on all the time just by the side of me. You know what I mean? I want to be looked at like that. I want to be lusted for. I want to be seen in a different light. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, you got
So
all
you
the light
feel-
you got now, right?
But like to a polygram, I'm still
our
like
people are
nigga.
good looking people. You know, Pacific Islanders are
So are
good
you
looking
saying that island women don't look at you like she looked at you?
Kinda because I'm half on some real shit. Once I tell a girl I'm Afakasi, man, shot. Oh, so you just have some on. What are you, have some on or have some on? You know what I mean?
That's
And
why,
like,
that's why they get you.
There's that
right?
pride bullshit again.
Huh?
There's that pride bullshit again. It's like,
Yeah,
so
no,
what
That's
is going?
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm already not poly enough for them anyways.
And even like for the Palangis, like for people that say that, oh, you know, marrying outside, right? Why is it your business? Why do you have such a weird obsession of who people should be with?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Is this obsession of the, oh, you need to keep it within the culture? Do you know more than 3 sentences in your own language? And aside from the language, do you have any values that you actually keep from your culture that you should be able to like live as an example, and it shows from how you live it too? And
Yeah.
so because white women are freakier than a lot of other women, you know.
Yeah, for me, one of the things I value is health. Like, I like to be healthy, I like to eat healthy. But I know for a fact, do I want to marry a Pacific Islander woman, especially Tongan? Yeah, I would want to. Part of the reason because my 2 older brothers, they both married outside the race, so I'm like my mom's last hope to marry a Tongan girl. I would prefer a marry a Tongan girl, but like the thing is for me is like it's rare to find a Tongan girl or Pacific Islander woman that's really into health or eats healthy. You know, I know they're out there. I see it on social media, but I'm just saying on the average. The average, if you meet the average Pacific Islander Tongan girl, most of them are not working out, or most of them are not eating healthy. They're still eating the same processed foods that we typically eat in our homes, especially if we come from poverty. So, because I do understand that me and my potential partner, we're gonna set the standards and values for our kids. So, if I marry a girl that's not as healthy, doesn't have that lifestyle or habit that I do, I don't want to tell my kids one thing and then they run to their mom, because I want to tell my kids eat healthy, but they'll run to their mom and eat, and she should be okay with them eating something else that's not healthy. Right. So I would rather marry somebody that has had the same kind of value system as me. But I do know there's Polynesian girls out there, but I'm saying just the average Polynesian girl I meet, most of them are not have that same kind of mindset when it comes to health. But I do know a lot of white girls that are very healthy. They stay shit. They keep it tight.
They keep it tight,
They
straight
keep it
up.
tight.
You know what I mean? Hey, it ain't the leggings, I'll tell you that.
I do know there's a lot of white girls out there. I meet them every day.
All right.
I see them at the gym. I see them at the gym.
Keep the toes pedicured and everything.
Everything is good.
It's just not scratchy.
All right. Maybe if I go to a boxing gym, I'll meet the
I think
you gotta go to the buffet.
Like most people really like, they always have this saying, right? The huge benefit for you to be outside of the culture is you don't have another culture to deal with other than just a palangi, right? Maybe like for our black folks, maybe you have some cultural stuff that they do. For me, like, I'm petty that way. It's like, what do you think? Like, then I see she's palangi, go for it, dude. Do it. You don't want to struggle later on with your parents, and then you come do all the falablava stuff in a petty way. But then at the same time, I look into it and be like, why are our people have such an obsession of having to keep it within the culture? You don't even live the culture to begin with. You don't even do anything culturally, right? When it comes to cultural stuff, you are the most disrespectful person that anybody knows. And you want to come talk about, oh, keep it within the family. And then at the end of the day, you're still fat.
Yeah, facts. And also, I wanted to bring up, because I've had this topic before, because a lot of Pacific Islander girls like always complain about how come when the Pacific Islander brothers, when they reach a certain level of success or start becoming successful, they always marry a white girl. And I have a very logical reason for that. And maybe you may not like this reason, but this is the reality. Usually, what happens when men start rising in their status as far as wealth and money, they usually go, the quality of life and their social circle rises. And when they start rising in their social circle and their status and where they are in life, usually the people in the higher upper level of social status and money, it's usually you don't see a lot of islanders at the top. So usually you don't.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't.
No,
I'm saying usually you don't see a lot of Pacific Islanders around, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't think you see any.
Yeah, exactly. So usually what happens is when guys become successful, they have a different network. They don't hang around the same areas, at the same restaurants, in the same places. These guys live a whole completely different life. And most of the girls that they see in that level are not Pacific Islanders. So for most guys, we're just gonna date whatever is available that we see.
Yeah.
And when you start making money, $100,000, $500,000, multi-millionaire, you're eating a different place. You're not eating at the regular restaurant. You're eating at the 5-star restaurant, right? And you don't see a lot of Pacific Islander girls in that area or that club or that whatever you do. So, and the girls that you see typically, you're gonna see a lot of white women, and then you're just gonna date whatever you see.
Yeah, it happens a lot of work too.
Yeah.
Right. In work, you spend hours within hours working with the same person, right? And I'm not condoning that you should be doing this, but
There's a statistic out there. I think 80% of relationships started at the workplace.
exactly right, because you're in close proximity with this person, you end up smashing the person too.
Yeah.
Right? It's because of that so much time. But aside from, because a lot of people, I know some people are gonna be like, oh, so you only look at like family situations and 5 lives. No, that's not what I'm looking at. It's not just the obligation to it's that whatever the person chooses should be none of your business what their preference is.
Yeah.
Let them figure it out. Right. But I think some people have like, that's your experience. And unfortunately, your experience is the most common thing we hear in the Polynesian community about white women.
Yeah.
It's the easiest
I
to
think you're
deal
the first person to
Right?
say it in public.
Damn, but oh shit, hey, I'm exposed.
That's what we do here, the Government Podcast.
Yeah.
But we love all women.
Yeah, and I don't think I don't really think
There's
that
nothing
that's
wrong
a
with
problem.
that. Yeah, it's a problem. I don't see it as a
I
problem.
think if we're looking at everything from race,
I think that comes from envy.
yeah, don't look at things from race, because then we're just implementing what racism is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's not okay.
You're a racist if you're having an issue with somebody marrying outside of the culture. You're a narcissist and a racist all combined into one, right? Because you're more focused on the image of whatever we have, but you don't live it just to begin with.
Yeah.
Right.
So
No, it's all good.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start using that when niggas ask me now.
I mean,
All right,
I'm
buddy,
not
so you
gonna lie
racist and
about
narcissist.
it.
All right, that's cool.
I have family members that are white. They look white, and they're some Polynesian, and it is what it is. And it's like, I love them the same as if I loved my full ones and the other half ones, and
That's only because of your family.
Yeah.
well, even if they are my family, like, the thing is like, at the end of the day, that shouldn't matter. It just shouldn't.
Not politically, you're right. It
Yeah.
shouldn't matter.
Race is political.
I mean, but in the real world and reality and
it's
out of
always gonna be there.
experiences,
It's always gonna be there.
it's something that's talked about. It's something that's mistreated. And like, keep it real, I'm like the worst of it because I'm half white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I could have been another half brown and I would have been accepted a little bit more. But shit, I'm Afro-Kasi and Palangi.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But like, that right there will keep the poly women away from like fucking with me because I'm half white. I mean, it is what it is. I ain't tripping off it. I ain't bitter off of it. But I'm not going to sit there and keep chasing something I'm not going to be respected and valued at, because just like we talked about earlier, man, like, a man's going to thrive where he's respected at.
Yeah, respect.
Right.
So I found me something that like really like looks at me in the upper light, and like, gives me the
that doesn't care you're Hafakasi or not. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm gonna rock with that. But I am super proud of my culture. I brainwash my kids. Hey, blood, you only a quarter, bro. You need to go get yourself a poly girl. You know what I mean? You need to end up going to the floor shows and shit. And Go get yourself a dancer. You feel me? Like, get something nice and tight and everything, so we can thicken up this bloodline again. But
so like, okay, I'm kind of curious because of his story, right? Now I want to ask you guys: is it that important to keep it within the culture? How important is that? Would you sacrifice the longevity of your life and maybe a potential perfect life on how you would raise your family because you have to keep it within the culture?
I mean,
I don't think. No, I think you have to raise your family the way you want to raise it. That's best for you. Whatever it's within the culture, outside of the culture. And here's the thing. The thing is, there's always gonna be people that's gonna raise it within the culture because they want to keep the culture. That's cool, right? Because we need those guys. Because I know for a fact I'm not gonna practice a lot of the things that as far as the culture. There's a lot of things I see differently. But my sister's hardcore Tongan, and she loves the culture. She wants to keep the culture. And I think she plays a pivotal role because she's gonna make sure she passes that. But I also think as Polynesian, we need people outside the culture so we can excel. So we're gonna bring different ideas and mindsets of different things, so that way the kids who grew up and you know what, they want a different avenue, they want a different path that's away from the culture. They have an avenue for that, and there's guys like me, you, and Monica and Jordan. We can provide that path for them, and then there's people that wants to be within the culture. That's okay. I'm not saying one is better than the other. If you want to be within your culture, there's people that's doing it. That's fine, but that thing's necessary for us to go outside of it because there are going to be kids out there like, you know what, that's not me.
No, but for you guys personally, how important is it?
I think it's funny that people feel like they have control of that.
Yeah.
You don't have control of that. You don't. You don't have control of, like, there are things that you can control,
and there are things that you cannot. And when it comes to like, love or whatnot, or who you meet, or you don't have control of that. And I think it's hilarious that societies try so hard to navigate us to believe that we are in control of that, because we are not.
I think you have to make a distinguished culture and culture and heritage, right? Just because you don't follow the culture does not make you less Pacific Islander or less Samoan or less Tongan. All right. The thing is, for me, is a lot of people may not think, look, I'm Tongan. My blood is Tongan. I was raised in the islands, but biologically, I'm Tongan. It's running through my blood. Just because I live a different culture or I live a different lifestyle does not make me less Tongan. So, because sometimes they associate the both. Like if you don't follow the culture to 100%, then you're either a sellout or you're not part of the group, right? So you have to follow everything the same way. But I think once like your biology is you're always gonna be Tongan, you're always gonna be Samoan, whether it's 50%, whether it's 100%, right? But if you want to stay within the culture and be a culture Pacific Islander, but I don't think that makes you less. Just because, I mean, would we say that Dwayne Johnson is less Pacific Islander based on the accomplishment that he has done for his career to set a great example for people? Is he less Pacific Islander than the Pacific Islander just, with gout and obese, not taking responsibility for his life, but his culture, right? He's full-blooded. Mm-hmm. Is Dwayne Johnson less Pacific Islander because of that? So I don't see it. I think sometimes as Pacific Islanders, like if you don't follow the associated, that culture and heritage is the same thing. If you don't follow the culture, if you go outside of it, they don't look at you the same way. Because a lot of people based on the criticism that I see on this podcast, a lot of them don't consider me Tongan, or they don't think I'm part of the culture because of I talk differently, I have different ideas, I have different ideologies. Even though I grew up in the islands and I can speak Tongan than 90% of them, better than 90% of them, but just because I don't follow the culture like everybody else and follow the same path, they think that I'm less than them.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Okay, your dad is Lebanese, is that correct?
Yeah.
So how was that? Like, how was that culture? Is that Middle Eastern culture?
Yeah. But the thing is, he just worked every single time. So
you didn't have.
Yeah. So I grew up more with my mom.
Your mom.
Your mom's side. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm glad.
And that's like another perfect example, because we got Palangis out here that speak better Samoan than the rest of these other people. So what about those exceptions, right?
Yeah.
If somebody marries that guy, and that guy comes into the family, has a much deeper understanding of maybe not the history of it, maybe some basic understanding of the history, but just the everyday to day stuff, speaking to you in Samoan or in Tongan. What about that guy? Is he still a problem? Right? Yeah. I mean, to each their own about it. I just personally think it's nobody's business. If you pick who you want to love, you pick who you want to love.
Right.
All right, we're just gonna cover one last topic and then we're gonna close it. We're gonna conclude the pod.
Hey, let me say something real quick too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Too. Like, my girl's white, so she ain't got no culture. I tell her what her culture is.
Oh my god!
Damn.
So she's not like
she's
Italian.
She's Italian, but like
okay.
that's also was that Western European.
Oh yeah.
You white. Or she got like Spanish in her or something like that. Yeah. She's white. This is the most culture she get.
He makes a great point. I mean, people may not like to hear this, but I think the great thing about dating white women, like they'll just adjust to any man they go with, depending on whatever culture you have.
No, I think Palangis have cultures.
They have their own. White people have their culture as well. But I'm saying they're more able to adjust to a different culture. Where if you like a Polynesian, it's hard for them to adjust to a different culture because most people want to stay on their own. So a Pacific Islander woman, it's hard for them to adopt a new culture because they came from a different culture. Because a lot of white girls will they'll date a Tongan girl, a Tongan man, and they'll start adopting the culture and trying being part of the culture. Where most, if you ask a Tongan girl to adopt a new culture, or her husband's white and start doing things what white people do, I don't think you see a lot of Pacific Islander women willing to abandon their culture they grew up with and try something new. You don't think so? I'm talking about on average. I'm talking about on average.
On average,
Like,
man, only if you choose a healthy lifestyle. But other than that, it's like
because I see a lot of the white girls, right? Like they'll marry a Pacific Islander man, and then she would just adjust naturally to the culture. She start wearing their clothes, going to church with them, learning the Ta'alungas. I saw a video on TikTok of this white girl. She's doing the Ta'alunga. But how many Polynesian girls I've seen like married, let's say, a Chinese guy, and they decide she's doing the Chinese dance? I don't see that at all.
All right. They
maybe
celebrate with the
maybe
red
not to
dragon
that
and
maybe
shit.
not to that extent, but maybe some stuff, right?
What
'Cause-
about saying
Well,
white
what
women go to
about-
the extent?
I want to say,
Oh,
if
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
I want to say, if anything, if a poly woman were to marry or get it with anybody outside of their culture, her culture is gonna trump his culture.
Yeah.
She gonna bring her culture into the relationship and make that as a priority in the
Yeah.
relationship too.
Yeah.
Well, that's only if the father is inactive. And if the father is inactive, a lot of the times you'll see island women, like they'll cater to that culture if he's masculine, and usually like black men.
Yeah.
They will cater to that.
Yeah.
They will.
Well,
I know it's weird,
but
but
yeah,
I know
but-
you guys seen that.
Well, I've seen it, but I'm saying it's it's rare.
But it's different. But the black
Not
community,
really.
the black community sort of aligns with us too because they're
Right.
fans of the polys. Like
Yeah.
they sort of want us in their category. Like keep it
Right.
real. They try to
Right.
claim The Rock. Nigga, hold up, bro. That's our guy.
Right.
Okay, that's our
right,
first round draft pick. You better stop
Right.
playing.
Right.
That's a whole conversation.
No, but I have cousins that are, married to black men, and like they have navigated to that culture, and I've seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
They've navigated to that culture, and our community may not like it because we deal with our own shit in the sense of being. I don't know what that is.
And
what
I
they
know
say.
there's somebody out there who's gonna be like, man, that's crazy. They took us over. Now we have to have them learn. How is it a dominant culture if they,
Right.
all of that? it's-
Right.
it's just
But-
love who you want to love.
Right.
Forget all that.
Just love who you want to love, y'all. That's all it
Right.
is. Who
Yeah.
determines what or who is poly? I mean, I see Savage. You guys are going on hard on the live chat. Appreciate you guys watching this right now. And I guess the last thing I just want to bring up, we can finish this real quick, because what happened is the last podcast when we talked about this, the audio was out, so we didn't get a chance to do it.
Ah, okay.
But I want to talk about humble bragging.
Hey, let's get it.
I don't know if you guys heard of humble bragging. When Pisvan
I
was,
remember
yeah,
the gentleman said
Yeah, I'm
humble
so fucking
bragging
humble.
last week.
especially Tongans, they do this in the Tongan functions. They'll brag about being humble.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to giving money, they'll talk about how poor they are. They came from the struggle, and then they'll tell everybody, "Yeah, I'm poor. We didn't have anything, but like here's $50,000 to donate to the function or to the wedding or to
I
the
need a
funeral."
donation.
They'll talk about how they don't have money at all, but then they'll throw large amounts of money.
Yeah.
And-
It's not a lot, but here's $10,000.
I don't know. I think
Hey, I mean, I want to experience that type of humble bragging. I want to be on the receiving end of some humble bragging like that. But, man, I don't know. Personally, for me, in my experience, I haven't really seen that. But I would say that not the giving part, but definitely in the just like how we hold ourselves as a culture and stuff. Well, there's definitely humble bragging about shit like that. Just like we think that we're pretty much the best fucking culture out there, and I love our culture and everything.
Yeah.
And just not being open enough to see the whole world as it is, or open enough to see anything outside of our culture, or not be able to treat all of our own people as equals and everything. Because I remember I had this one little cousin, man, they used to call his ass a Fayal boy, and I thought that shit was so fucked up because he was always the one that was cleaning out the garage and cleaning out the dog shit in the backyard and everything.
What does Fayal mean?
Patomia, like the
Okay.
like the chore,
Tongan-
like the chore
Tongan.
boy.
Tongan.
Okay.
And I don't know, to me, the humble bragging shouldn't just, I don't know what I'm really trying to say, honestly, because the humble bragging is something that, from your guys' experience when it comes to money and everything, I haven't seen humble bragging like that. But we're in the Bay
No,
Area,
it's-
everything's hella fucking expensive. And can't afford the humble brag.
It's funny because Pacific Islanders will criticize or mock somebody that's trying to do well, and because they start to stand out, right? But then look at that guy, I want to be, we call it fear in Tongan, like you want to be like this, want to be this guy or try something new, but then they'll humble brag, Like anybody out there trying to like say he wants to start a business, or maybe he wants to lose some weight, or maybe they're doing something, they're doing really well for their life, and they talk about it, but then they try to criticize that. Look at that guy talking about his business or his success,
All right.
and they see it as a form of bragging, but then they'll brag about your humbleness when it comes to functions.
Yeah. All right. In that case, yeah, we humble brag all the fucking time. I mean,
Right.
shit. I'm 6'1". I used to be 300. I'm now 6'1", 225. Nigga, what's good? You feel me?
Yeah.
Humble brag, but like that's also something that we earn too, though. I mean, I feel like, if man passed, I don't even know what I'm trying to say next. It's getting late.
It's all good. It's all good. But nevertheless, Savage Rose, we have come to the end of the pod. We're going to conclude it for tonight. Thank you so much. Shout out everybody that's watching.
What do you think about humble brag? Is it necessary?
I think it's unnecessary.
Oh, I thought it's a good thing to have.
No, I think it's hypocritical because like the same people that criticize people that do really well, but then they'll brag about being humble. That's the same. I think it's just a different form of bragging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody brags, they'll criticize the guy that brags, but then they will brag themselves about how they're humble. And I think for humility, for me, true humility is like you don't have to talk about being humble. You're just humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it's a good way for other people to see how like, there's one experience on how you should actually use your money,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's in church or if you're gonna be humble about it, it's brag in a different way.
I think it's just comedy. It's something that you only
No,
see
it
within
really is
within
because
our
that's all
culture.
I think about is.
It's only something that you see within our culture.
It was like, I couldn't pay my bills, but here's $7,000 to open the
Yeah.
dance.
Right.
All
Yeah, that's really what happened.
I think there's just some things like humble bragging that I just don't have anything to say because it's just pure comedy for
Yeah,
me.
suddenly
right?
something unique to us.
Right. So it's like the joke that only makes sense in a native language,
Yeah,
even though the
yeah,
word
yeah.
ain't funny. But
Yeah, it's only like a humor that's only specified for us.
Yeah, like we're just gonna pretend for a minute. Be like, oh, here, just kidding.
Let me humble brag right now to finish the podcast. Anyways, we've come to the end to the podcast. Thank you so much. Shout out for everybody that's watching this right now. And yeah, we covered a lot of topics tonight. The topic tonight was Polynesian behaviors and mindset that is toxic within the culture. So we covered a lot of variety of topics. If you're just jumping on right now, you definitely want to watch the whole pod. We covered all different types of topics about what we thought that certain mindsets or behaviors that we believe that were toxic within our culture. But nevertheless, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to pass it to the guests. Final thoughts and how can people find you? Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to don't forget I'll be launching my locals account next Monday. So that way, if you want to see the before and after scenes of the show and what goes behind the scenes before and after, you guys can definitely check it out and subscribe to it. And you can only see that exclusive content on locals. And don't forget tomorrow, all the single people out there, I have my dating relationship podcast after hours tomorrow on Saturday. I host every single Saturday. I have a group of beautiful ladies coming in from the Bay Area, and they're going to join me on the podcast, and we're going to talk about dating and relationships. And we had our little relationship segment on this pod too, so I might bring that conversation up tomorrow. But yeah, for all the single people out there, men and women, want to check out dating relationships and figure out why you're still single, come and tap in tomorrow, and you can definitely be part of the After Dark. But I'll pass it back to you guys. Thank you so much to the guests. Final thoughts and how can people find you? Monica, as always, thank you so much always for showing support. All right, what's your final thoughts from tonight's discussion and how can people find you?
Thank you for having me here. And I don't have social media.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't find her, okay? All right, so I'll pass it to you, T, as always. Thank you always for taking time being part of this. Final thoughts and how can people find you?
it's just a lot of same thing as always, right? We can joke around, we can talk about a lot of stuff, we can find humor in a lot of the topics we discuss, but at the same time, that common sense really does hit different when you actually use it, whether it's relationships, humble bragging,
Not the humble bragging.
cultural stuff. Common sense applies a lot too when it comes to consuming a lot of the stuff that makes you fat. Okay? As much as I don't want to say it like that, like I feel so bad for my people, but you know, it is what it is. Apply a lot of critical thinking to how you maneuver in life and how you apply a lot of things, right? You can be a sponge, but at the same time, leave out stuff that's unnecessary if it doesn't work for you. I do not have social media. If you want to have more issues with me, and especially my people, find me on Discord. I'm always on Discord. If you guys want to continue conversation over there, that's always works for me. Will, appreciate it. Thank you for having me tonight, as always. Great panel. And Afakasi Yuso, don't worry, man. Love you just as much as these round motherfuckers.
Let's go.
All right, thanks, peeps.
No worries. Thank you so much, T. And last but not least, our newest guest. Thank you so much for making the time to be part of this. We just connected 2-3 days ago. And don't forget, if you want to be part of the podcast and the panel in the Bay Area, this is a podcast I invite all Pacific Islanders. So, yeah, thank you so much, Jordan, for making the time to be part of this. And here you are.
For having us out here, man. Thank you. If you don't mind, I just want to send a shout out to West Coast Islander Youth Football Program. It's a youth football program over in the East Bay that is trying to create a pipeline system to help build network for young Polynesian football players. And you got to be a student athlete. All right. It's very important that you're a student first, student athlete when you come play. And that's something that has been lost in our community because we could just show up and ball the fuck out, but we never get held accountable for our grades. So let's please make sure that we take care of that, people. And let me send a little shout out too to my younger cousins. I got a cousin out quarterback in high school right now. He's the next big guy coming out of the Bay Area. His name is Sefa Steffens. Go make sure you go follow him on Twitter and all of his platforms. He's the Saucy Afakasi. That's why I say I'm the original Saucy Afakasi because that was my handle first, and that's my little nigga right there. So I handed it off to him, and I'm not on any social media platforms. But yeah, make sure you go follow Saucy Afakasi on all of his platforms. Make sure you send some love and some shout out to the West Coast Islander football program. And yeah, man, I just appreciate being out here, being part of the discussion. And I appreciate the love at the table, y'all. Like, for real. And I'd love to be back anytime y'all got me, man. Like,
oh, yeah, he's definitely coming back next show.
Right on.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys know what's the most common thing Palang people do? They like and subscribe, guys.
Great, the fuck up.
I do.
Hey, Polly's will like and
Especially
subscribe.
white
for the
girls,
culture,
especially
too.
white girls, right? White girls always like and
It's
subscribe.
free. We love free stuff.
Man.
Help the
And
algorithm
hey,
out. help
I'll
the
say
brother
this:
out.
white girls, they shoot their shot.
And the cultures are
They
the
shoot their shot.
and if you down for the culture, you be the biggest supporter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Straight up.
Like and subscribe, y'all. Bro, like and subscribe. Nevertheless, appreciate you guys. Always appreciate you guys being part of the pod. We host this every single Friday. So every single Friday, you're definitely gonna see me, T, and definitely Jordan next time. And we're gonna talk about a variety of different things within the community. Like I said, this is the only podcast, only Pacific Island podcast that is unfiltered, raw, and open. All right, we don't shy away from the hard conversations, but we also have some fun. And we are willing to have some fun conversations as well. We're willing to talk about the things within our community that most people are not willing to do. So, like I said, I always appreciate you guys. If this is the type of content this is the type of content you're looking for, and we provide value for you, the best way you can do to support me is to like and subscribe. That's all you got to do. All right. Nevertheless, if you love the content, spread it to your friends, post clips, tag me on Instagram, tag me on Facebook, tag me on TikTok. And if you're a hater out there, you're going to offend it. Yeah, please tag me as well. All right. When you talk about me. All right. So nevertheless, appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace, y'all. Peace, y'all. One more drink for everybody.
Oh, let's do this.
One more drink.
Pour up.
Pour it up. For everybody out there. Savage said, catch me next week on the podcast, getting canceled yet again. Hey, Toko, you gonna be here next week? Hit me up. Text me. Oh yeah, we definitely gonna have some hot topics. If Savage is coming here on the pod next week,
Hey, let's go.
it's gonna be on. But cheers, thank you guys as always. Cheers,
Gang.
Monica with her empty cup.
Uso Mom.
I'm just saying.
That's all good. Hey, you participated. All right, you should just have the water like this.
Oh, right. Done that.
All right.
Shout out my sister Nora too. Love you, sis.
Peace, y'all. Hey, and your boy Luis, right?
They're on their grandpa's account.
Oh,
Those are my sons.
Oh, your sons, right?
Yeah, boy. What's up, Jordan Juicy Jackson? Ball squad all day. Gang, gang.
Gang. Peace, y'all. See you guys next Friday. All right, peace.